It's obviously very early in development.
If we could all go crazy for a Shenmue logo a few years ago at Sony's press conference, and we could do the same for Metroid. Metroid is such a just darling franchise to Nintendo fans. Many of us grew up with it. It's been around for so long that the IGN logo used to look like that. That's how long Metroid's been around. But the last Metroid we got was Federation Force, which was not really a Metroid game.
Yeah.
You know, it's hard to call it that. We've only had really, if you think about, aside from Other M, there have been 3 specific Metroid Prime games. They were available for the GameCube and the Wii, respectively. We saw them get ported. We saw them again on Wii U, where you could download them. Motion controls were added and stuff like that. But for the most part, this is a franchise we haven't heard about in a long time. So I'm really interested in the way it's going to come back. The Switch is capable of some really incredible graphics. There is the ability to do motion control stuff with the Joy-Cons if you pop those off. Not a lot of people know that. But I think there's room here for a really fantastic Metroid Prime game. And it's time.
Yeah, so coming to Switch. Anything new that you want to see, or anything that the series hasn't explored thus far?
I think specifically, I know what I don't want it to do, and that's a lot of the stuff we saw in Other M, right? Which is like, had a lot of good ideas, but I think overall most Metroid fans understand that that's not really up there with, say, Super Metroid or the Prime games. The 2.5D to first person to 3D kind of stuff is not very necessary. I'm interested to see if it leans into a sort of like more dynamic lock-on, move around, dual camera, analog control stuff, because first-person shooters have evolved a lot since Metroid Prime.
I'm like, because it's been such a hiatus for that series, I don't think it has to dramatically reinvent itself. I think people would like to see what those games did on the new hardware.
Right.
Yeah. Well, so we've got an amazing new Zelda game already. The new Mario game looks amazing. Like, can Nintendo achieve that level of...
I think they're so incredibly smart, especially with these like long-standing franchises. You know, Zelda's been around for so long, and I think people not fatigued of Zelda, but you get used to its format. And they did some very smart reinvention for the series in Breath of the Wild. It looks like they're doing that with Mario Odyssey. So I think they're having that conversation right now around Metroid.
I really hope so. I think that once predictability gets pulled away from a lot of these franchises, which is what we saw with Breath of the Wild specifically, you didn't really know what you're going to expect in that game. They took away all the notions.
Yeah, but bizarrely, you ended up with a more Zelda-feeling game, if anything.
Yeah.
True. Amazingly, Metroid Prime 4 is not the only Metroid game that was announced today. Coming out soon on 3DS is Metroid Samus Returns, which is a remake of the Game Boy sequel, Metroid 2 Return of Samus.
Yes, which...
I like the name change there. It's very simple, but it's like...
It's a cool little remix, right?
Yeah.
And we're seeing a lot of devotion to that game in many ways, but what we're not seeing is how sort of murky and green and yellow that game used to be. That game used to have no map. It was very difficult to play. So they've added a ton of stuff that I think is going to make it much better. The combat looks a lot more fluid. You're seeing a lot of new options in terms of weaponry, which were not really in the original. The original had, just missiles and your basic proton shooter, and then you had a ball. That was it. So this is all taken away. We've got boss fights now that are way more cool. The map on the lower screen. You'll be able to play it all on 3DS. I'll say I was a little bummed out that this isn't coming to Switch, but there are millions of 3DSs out there.
I actually wonder if this is going to be the first of several Metroid announcements. Like if Prime 4 is the big Metroid game we're heading towards. It's been on hiatus for a long time. Are there going to be more Metroid games, more Metroid spin-offs to get people ready for that big one?
It's possible.
Yeah, a collection or something would be really nice for people who missed out on the originals. I mean, that's a big thing for catch-up and like a really appealing thing for new players, I think.
I totally agree. It's very odd if you look at the sort of trajectory of the Metroid 2D franchise, because specifically there have only been a few of them that were original games. You had the original, you had this one at the first time, you had Super Metroid, and then you had, not Zero Mission. Fusion. Yeah. Now Zero Mission was a remake of the NES version, and this is a remake of the Game Boy version. So the last two 2D Metroid games have been remakes.
Yeah.
Very fascinating.
But this one has a very different art style.
Yeah.
Tell me, how do you feel about the way this game looks?
It feels like they took some character models from Other M, which, is not a bad thing, and a lot of the UI and sort of music cues from Prime, and then it's got the map layout of the original. So it's kind of this awesome Metroid mixtape. Like they took a lot of great parts from different Metroid games and sort of fused them together to make this new thing, which I'm super into.
If it reminds anyone of the last 3DS Castlevania game, I think it's because it's the same developer.
It is.
That works
Mercury
on that game.
Steam, a Spanish-based developer.
Miranda, what do you think of the visual style of Samus Returns?
It's good. It fits with the 3DS style, I think, very well. I was really impressed by how, like we were talking about the boss fights, those looked really good, and all the technical details that you're talking about on the stream. They devoted a lot of time to showing off the gameplay, and I was like really excited about it and to dig back into that game. And also the new improvements they have with like all the different weapons and all the different functionality. Also, Amiibo.
The Amiibo
of
are
course.
adorable.
Yes,
they're really well done.
Squeezy Amiibo.
They're squishy, squeezy Amiibo.
Yeah, there's a squishy Metroid Amiibo, and then Samus and the pose from the box art, which is pretty cool.
Which is really cool.
I know why they went with the 3D models in the 2D environments is because they have these cinematic moments where the camera zooms in during the boss fights. But Krupa, would you have preferred a classic, like, pixelated retro look?
Like, it'd be great. Like, we've seen a lot of games recently where you can switch on the fly between the two. I would have liked that feature if that's not too hard to implement. But I wonder if they're just... I suppose if you're introducing this game to a new audience, maybe there's a certain kind of look that you want to go for to get them in the door. So they don't kind of just go, oh, this is all retro game.
Yeah, this is another old game.
I don't need to play it now.
Yeah, I get that. Okay, we also got the reveal of a new Kirby game, which is just called Kirby for now. What was your first impression of this one?
It's gorgeous, right? We have a running joke on Nintendo Voice Chat that when a system is about to go away in Nintendo world, they send out the Kirby's. That's one of Pear's jokes. But we're getting
just
Kirby
because it was it was a late
he's always
NES game, right?
He's there to say goodbye and send a system off into the end.
Oh, so the Switch did not last very long.
Oh,
I guess that's it for the Switch. No, we're getting a Kirby game very early on. It's got multiplayer. It's giving me sort of Smash Brothers vibes in the way you can play 4 players at the same time. The item stuff looks really cool. You can sort of tag in characters as friends now instead of just inhaling their abilities. For once, instead of just putting them in your stomach, they can walk around with you, which is, I think, a genuinely nice thing for Kirby to do after decades of inhaling people. This looks really fun. The art's gorgeous. This tree is back.
Yep.
We hate this tree.
Cannot get rid of this tree.
We've been fighting this tree for 30 years now. Yeah, this is great.
Yeah, Miranda, how did the new Kirby game strike you?
So I'm not a huge fan of Kirby, even though it's super cute.
Yeah.
I love the design and all the aesthetic of Kirby. This is one that I actually really want to play because of playing with friends, and I just like love sharing my Switch with other people.
Yeah.
And just having people have their own abilities, not eating them, is really polite and a nice way to team up with other people.
I think what you're saying is perfect too about the multiplayer aspect is being able to pop off the Joy-Cons on the side and just play multiplayer anywhere with a game like this.
That was actually such a big message of that spotlight is this is a multiplayer console.
Yes.
Whether you're on the couch or whether you're in playing football down the street or in a cafe, you can play and enjoy these games. And I like the mixture of like, it looks a little bit like 3D World where you've got a mixture of maybe cooperation, but also competitive.
Yeah. Well, Kirby games often have like a cool gimmick. Like remember on DS, you could use a stylus to draw paths for Kirby, and then there was Kirby Epic Yarn. Do you think the sort of angle or gimmick for this one is the multiplayer?
Maybe. I also just like all the elemental abilities too. Like you saw them sharing abilities like, hey, put this bomb and put water on it so we can throw them at people and just be more effective in our attacks. Like just more of that too. Like figuring out how to be cooperative tactfully is really interesting.
Yeah, this doesn't feel like a reinvention along the lines of Breath of the Wild or like what we were asking for Metroid. It's definitely a safe, fun Kirby game, but it's taking all the stuff it's ever done well and throwing it all at you at the same time, which can't go wrong.
Well, along with Kirby, there's a new Yoshi. We saw a gameplay trailer for the new Yoshi game, which is also just currently called Yoshi.
Yeah, and it looks like an evolution of the last 2 Yoshi games, the Woolly World games, which I reviewed, and it's that kind of arts and crafts aesthetic, but instead of the wool this time, you've got kind of toilet rolls and crayon scribbles, and it's like really charming, and there's that mechanic which is in Woolly World where you kind of flip perspective, and that seems quite core to the experience.
Yeah, whichever Nintendo grandma is crafting all these games, they're really putting it to work. Yeah, she's got their little thing set.
Oh yeah, they got like all the Girl Scouts and the Boy Scouts making art projects together. It's like a bunch of like, all right, guys, design a level.
We found out that this game is running on Unreal Engine 4, which I think is fascinating. You don't really see stuff like that from Nintendo, so this is cool. We've seen Unreal Engine 4 games on Switch before, something like Snake Pass, and they work really well. They're gorgeous. It's a good way to sort of like, especially with this 2D or this kind of cartoony art style, it's a really good way to flex how colorful and how bright and crazy this system can really perform.
Does it look like there's multiplayer in this one as well?
I would think so. I mean, you see some stuff right here, right? The last few games in the Yoshi cinematic universe that have looked like this have been multiplayer. So I love this dragon, by the way.
Me too. It's so cute.
Well, I think Nintendo said they were focusing on games that were coming soon or this year. So do you think both Kirby and Yoshi are coming this year?
No, I
This is
think
2018.
Yeah,
I
I think those were like the two little teasers for next year, as well as Pokemon. Just like there's other stuff on the horizon.
Well, yeah, we'll get there.
Yeah.
Hold on one second. Let's talk about it right now, actually. Nintendo just wrapped up its E3 briefing, and it's time to break down the biggest moments. IGN's Keys to the Conference is presented by the all-new Honda Civic Si. Number one, I mean, the biggest reveal had to be Super Mario Odyssey, right?
Oh my God.
Yes.
There have been a lot of moments this E3 where people were shouting with glee here in the IGN War Room, but I think during that trailer it was just nonstop because there were so many cool things revealed.
Dinosaur.
Like shouting and laughter. Like the trailer begins in a brilliant way because it's great, like bait and switch, because it's not a dinosaur in Mario's art style, which I think is really important. This is that weirdness that we saw a year ago when he went to New Donk City and you saw people. Like he's going to places he's never even visited before, and that's why stuff doesn't even look like in the Mario style.
Right. He looks like the T-Rex from Jurassic Park, which makes sense because they're making a universal theme park together. I mean, who knows if this is all coming together in that way. You were talking before about sort of Nintendo games having this like specific hook or like an angle to them. This new like hat possession mechanic is incredibly cool looking, and there's weird rules to it. Like you can't just go possess every Goomba, but certain Goombas I guess are dumb enough to fall for it, or
if enemies are wearing a hat, you have to knock the hat off first before you can possess
so
them.
how about just don't wear a hat if you're an enemy? Problem solved. This stuff was really cool because this reminded me a lot of the platforming stuff in Galaxy, where it gets specifically a little bit more difficult, right? And we saw him skip over a couple purple coins, to which I was looking at the screen being like, I wouldn't have done that. I would have gotten every one of those.
No, you hang on, you go back.
You hang on, you go back, you get those coins, you 100% this game, you get everything.
We are, in just about 5 minutes, we are going to have Super Mario Odyssey here on the show, so definitely stay tuned for that. The second big reveal of Nintendo's presentation today, 2 new Metroid games, Metroid Prime 4 and Metroid Samus Returns for 3DS.
I can't imagine like which one I'm more excited for right now. Like, which is such a weird problem
At
to
least
have.
The 3DS game is coming much sooner.
Yeah, so it's like while you're waiting for the next one, just play Samus Returns. Have a good time.
We haven't had this problem in like 15 years, where there was a Prime game coming and a 2D Metroid game coming at the exact same time.
And now we're complaining about
it. Now we have it again. We don't know where to start. It's pretty amazing. It's a good problem to have, especially after years of no Metroids.
Nintendo finally listening. I mean, how long have people been demanding a new Metroid game, right?
And they did it in a way where the 2D fans couldn't be like, you disappointed me, and the 3D fans couldn't be like, disappointed. They're like, everyone gets something. Everyone's happy.
Yeah.
Leave us alone for a little while.
Yeah. Yeah, we're looking at, this is what? Metroid Samus Returns.
Or Return of Samus. You can call it what you want.
Look at that background. It looks so good.
Yeah, I'm starting to come around. I was a little disappointed in the art style right at first, but I think I'm starting to come around on it.
Yeah, I think you totally nailed it before, Damon, when you said that the reason this game isn't 2D is because it allows them to do these sort of pop zoom, more cinematic moments, which I think we're seeing working for the boss fights. When Samus goes in for like a finishing move, the camera spins around, and that's basically impossible to do in 2D.
So then Metroid Prime 4, it says it's currently in development for Nintendo Switch. Would you hope for 2018, or do you think that's actually?
I would hope for 2018.
Further
but
out.
I think the fact that we saw Kirby and Yoshi and 2018, and we have gameplay of both of them, makes me think Metroid might be very late 2018, or even beyond that. Really.
Yeah, my guess would be 2019 at the absolute earliest for this game. I think this is going to take a lot of work, and I think they just got started on this.
Yeah.
And finally, Miranda, they didn't have anything to show. But it is a pretty revolutionary announcement that there is a mainline Pokemon RPG in development for Switch.
So that is huge because there has never been a mainline Pokemon on consoles. And they've always been like the spin-offs or the side games, and that's fun. And it's just really exciting to see them bring one, and also really a little nervous because you're taking away that second screen, which has so much utility. And I think that's a really good opportunity for Nintendo and Pokemon Company to like essentially reinvent, like kind of like they did with Breath of the Wild.
Rethinking all these long-standing franchises to ensure they have a future, I think. Yeah,
and I think that's really exciting. I know when I was running Pokemon Sun and Moon on my old 3DS XL, it was chugging. Like it had some frame rate issues. It was just like, come on, guys, you can do it. We just got to win this battle, and then you guys can take a break. And so having the power of the Switch is going to be super exciting for what they can do potentially with this new Pokemon game.
There's also the aspect of portability, right? You can bring this thing anywhere and battle people and trade and stuff like that. I think that's like the immensely important aspect of this too. We are losing that second screen, which you've been playing Pokemon games on for like 15 years now.
Yeah, it is just built in. They've completely innovated it so much and so well for Pokemon Sun and Moon. And so like I'm a little worried like what they'll do to change that or to how to make up for that, because it does help so much in battle. Like I was like, well, you could split the screen in half, but that wouldn't look very good.
Right.
I think it's a long way off. Like, I think Metroid
they didn't even
Prime
have
is
a
2019.
logo. Yeah.
He's there
Trying to make up the logo.
Yeah, he was there poised with a pen or a piece of paper like he was about to do the title treatment.
Right. No, I used to do that trick in school where I'd be like, well, I don't have my homework, but I'm working on it. I promise.
Yeah.
And like, you just have a blank page.
Yeah, Pokemon. Yeah, sure. Pikachu's in it.
Yeah, just draw doodles on a page.
Yeah, my only concern is that they didn't say anything about 3DS. And like, is this only coming to the Switch? Because that'd be really weird. But I guess we'll have to see.
The Switch is a portable console, so it's very exciting. All right, after the break, we will have a live hands-on demo of Super Mario Odyssey, so don't go anywhere. More IGN Live at E3 right after this.
The biggest entertainment event of the year is almost here, and we got your All Access Pass. IGN live from San Diego Comic-Con. World premiere trailers and breaking news as it happens. The biggest stars and the world's best cosplay. IGN live from Comic-Con. Coverage starts July 19.
IGN is the world's #1 media brand for video games and entertainment. From breaking news and brand new trailers to reviews, let's plays, and the latest tips and tricks. IGN brings you the videos you crave everywhere you watch. Whether you're on the IGN app, PlayStation, Xbox, YouTube, Facebook, Snapchat, or IGN.com, IGN's got you covered on everything you care about. IGN, the #1 source for video game fans worldwide.
Did you know that IGN has an app that gives you all the tools you love right in the palm of your hands? It's fast, and you can save videos and articles for later, check your personalized feed, or check out all the latest reviews. Download it now on the iOS or Android App Store.
Two friends, one controller. IGN's Link Together turned Zelda Breath of the Wild into a co-op experience where Link is controlled by two players via splitting the Joy-Cons. Hyrule becomes a much more dangerous place, and friendships teeter on the edge. Check out Link Together Thursdays at 3 p.m. Pacific.
IGN is the world's #1 media brand for video games and entertainment. From breaking news and brand...
Welcome back to IGN Live at E3. We're coming to you live from Los Angeles, and the show floor is officially open, and right now, Dan Cooper and I have the game everyone wants to play. It's Super Mario Odyssey. I don't even know what else to say. Daniel, thank you so much for coming by. I'm excited. I'm screaming. I'm yelling. I'm happy. You can throw a hat at things. Let's calm down. Let's talk about this game.
Okay.
Super Mario Odyssey.
Yes.
So yeah, no, it's finally a great chance to reveal the trailer to everybody today. They're in this digital spotlight. I know the T-Rex kicked it off, all those cool mechanics and seeing the different capture abilities, using the Cappy for the first time. Get a chance to play that as well.
Oh,
so yeah.
I think we have a slight hitch here.
No, we'll get that fixed. So yeah, no, we got a chance to see all that, and now we're getting a chance to show off some of the game. This is actually in the Sand Kingdom. We're getting a chance to show off in the Tostarena town, really themed around Mexico, which actually one of the developers actually got a chance to go.
Went on vacation.
He went on vacation there. Yeah, he got a chance that Mr. Motokura got to go there, and he loved it so much that he's like, I want this in the game. So hence this became the wonderful theme that you get to see here around Tostarena town. So yeah, Mario gets a chance to basically explore. A lot of times, a little different than Legend of Zelda a lot, is that it's much more of a sandbox. I know you, Dan, you asked me about that a little bit earlier.
Yeah, so like we use the word sandbox when we were talking like, oh, this one's a bit return to that, like we see in 64 and Sunshine. Mm-hmm. But in the presentation I saw, they said it was a bit more like in Japan, they're using a different word. And it's more like the philosophy behind making a miniature garden.
Yes, I think the term, if I get the Japanese right, is hokoniwa. Yes, it's a really popular thing in Japan to build these like really intricate miniature gardens. Americans like it too, but much more smaller crew behind that. And that's the idea that everything's really condensed. It's really dense on all the different things you have the opportunity to do. And everything's like right in front of you, like to interact with. A little bit different from Zelda, which is more about that distance.
Like I definitely got that impression. Like I played New Donk City for 10 minutes. And like, you know, it's not huge. You can like triple jump your way across it in a few minutes, but it feels massive because it's so intricately packed with stuff.
So here we're seeing the store interface for the first time. Mario can actually spend his coins on something. In the past, he would get 100 and it would just reset, which is a terrible way to save money. Yeah. So now you can actually go buy clothes. What are the opportunities of sort of like amiibos being involved in this in some way down the line to bring in new costumes and stuff?
Well, they're hoping for that. I mean, that's something they're still that's not all revealed yet. That'll be coming soon, obviously. But there will be new costumes. Even in the trailer, they did show a few different costumes as well. But what's cool about the costumes here, some of those little purple coins you see in the ice and that Mario was gathering earlier are called regional coins. And those are actually available to buy outfits for that region. Hence the sombrero and the poncho was much more regional.
Are they like purely cosmetic changes, or do they actually like have abilities associated with them?
For the most part, it's mainly cosmetic, but it does have Cappy going involved with it, and we'll hopefully get more information about that in the future as well. So we'll see where that goes.
The entire IGN War Room was just delighted with this demo today. I think people will be when they play it on the show floor too. A lot of real, like, specific questions here, though.
Sure.
There's no more shines. Now we've got moons. Are the stars gone?
Yes, it's moons. The moons are used to power the Odyssey, the ship that Mario is using to fly around as he tries to go save Princess Peach.
Interesting.
From the wedding that is happening with Bowser.
So him and Olimar both have problems with powering ships, basically. That's good to know.
Mario's at least landing.
Yes.
Mario does land, doesn't crash, so it's a lot.
And there were a lot more moons than there were shines or stars in previous games.
Yes, I mean, so far you've seen. I know you had a chance to play a little bit, Daniel. There's a lot of moons just in this one area alone, and that's a lot of what they want. The devs really want people to explore and discover all these different ways. And a little bit different from Super Mario 64 is that when you got a star, it would kick you out of the level and start over. This time it's more about when you get a moon, you get to continue in the level.
And I noticed that when you get one, it's like a description of what it is, but also like a date stamp, so it's almost like a log of your journey, which I really like.
And then, here right now we're using Cappy to go into the binoculars, and you have a chance to really see where could you go, where do you want to explore.
And the binoculars we saw in 3D World, right?
There was something like that. Yeah, there's something to walk up to in 3D World.
It's really cool because you're seeing a lot of elements from older Mario games, but there's so much just incredibly new stuff here. One of the things I'm really impressed with so far is just the breadth and the scope in the variety of levels we've seen. And I think my big question is sort of, how will they all connect? We know we have the Odyssey that lets you travel from place to place. Is there a sort of like hub world, like kind of like Peach's Castle in Mario 64?
Well, we really essentially you're going to be exploring all these different kingdoms. We really haven't explained how those are all going to connect yet. So far, the two kingdoms that we're showing off at E3 that people can play is one, this is the Sand Kingdom. The other is Metro Kingdom, where you get to go to New Donk City specifically and get to explore that area.
The possession mechanism here that we're seeing with these hats, it doesn't work on everything, right?
No.
So it basically works, you have to be an enemy with a hat already?
Well, not always with a hat. You have to kind of explore and to see, because if you notice, the bullet bills don't all have hats on them already.
Right.
Oh, and you got a moon. So it depends. So you kind of have to explore and experiment and see what works and what doesn't.
When I was playing, I definitely felt I was being rewarded for just trying things out. And sometimes the reward was, hey, that was fun. But sometimes a moon just appeared.
Yes.
Which was awesome.
That was really cool about that, too. And what's awesome about it, too, since as you were describing that sandbox mentality as well, is that there isn't one set path to do anything. You could simply try to experiment different ways. Like right there was that's a dangerous area to go down that way. So we're just kind of looking at all different possibilities, and you can always backtrack to certain ways. You might find another secret you might have missed, like another moon. So you never know. You can always keep going back and forth when you're playing through this.
We're also like, if you look at the past Mario games, you would get a shine or you'd get a star, and many times it would end the level.
Yeah.
But here, it seems like you're grabbing these moons and you keep going.
You keep going. So, because if you even have a chance, when Sarah's actually the person playing for us, which is awesome, when she gets out of this 2D area, which is pretty cool, where you even see Mario even keeps his Explorer outfit on when he goes into 2D. So we can bring up the map for a second. She's still capturing things.
Cool.
So there is a map you'll be able to look at to see what's going on in the game, to figure out where you've gone to, what's still available, and that'll help keep you
It kind of reminds me, it looks like a scan from Nintendo Power. It's like an old video game magazine scan. Now, the 2D stuff specifically that we just saw, it's a little evocative of, say, Link Between Worlds, Super Paper Mario. Obviously, Mario's got its roots in a lot of the games. The 2D stuff, how much of that can we expect to see in the game? Because it seems like it's sort of hidden in little corners.
It is hidden in little corners, and that's the thing that it really harkens back to that old 8-bit era, and I'm looking forward to finding more of those myself, so we'll have to wait and see and what other elements are really brought to life in that 2D method.
I do love that Mario can bring his costumes in,
yes,
and you'll see them in 2D, which also reminds me of, say, something like Mario Maker, which had 100 different sprites you could choose from.
The different suits you could try, yeah. So we're here just using Mario, just going back. We're gonna go back into the 2D world again, so real quickly.
Yep. And that ledge grab seemed like a move that's been sort of evolved over the years. He can kind of just grab it, flip up. It seems like it's going to lead to a lot of quicker, faster-paced platforming stuff.
Definitely, for sure. And on top of that, too, there's even the elements of being able to even throw the hat and then jump off your hat as well. You can actually basically kind of hat stall.
But it's like, because also when it was presented, the recommended control scheme is actually motion control, separate Joy-Cons as well, because you can throw Cappy with a flick of the wrist.
Throw Cappy with a flick of the wrist. You can even move both your wrists into a single direction, and the hat will actually rotate around you. When you're in the air, you can throw down, and the hat kind of throws down and rolls along the ground.
But everything you can do using the Joy-Cons, you can replicate on the Pro Controller.
Yes, you should be able to do all of that as well.
I'm going to knock over a lot of drinks when I play this game on an airplane. Yeah, all this stuff is really cool here. It's also completely surreal because you've got these sort of realistic graphics. You've got the 2D Mario running up the side. Is there like an additional way? Could you just fly up this building or climb up a different way? Or?
That's what they've really talked about, is that even though there's multiple solutions to everything, they're really curious to see what people will actually do and find instead that they haven't even thought of. Which has been really interesting, like just even how Zelda has done that. This game is also doing
that's what it reminded me of, like how people have tackled shrines in really elaborate ways. Because there's so many different mechanics in this game. There's so many ways you can transform.
Yes.
Yeah. You can get to these top of these buildings in New Donk City in innumerable ways.
Yes.
Like if you look at the way the speedrunning community has taken on classic games like Mario 64, I feel like people are going to be finding shortcuts and tricks in this game for decades.
Oh, of course, yeah, no, and that's the best part of this whole thing, is that it keeps going on and on. How are you going to discover all those different moons? How are you going to find them, especially for the completionists, finding every single one. And what's helpful too, when you look at the map, there is a list that helps you break down a little bit of what's happening in that area as well. So it's not just find them all on your own. There's a little bit of help to get you through all of that.
And it feels like the kind of thing where you jump into a level, you're gonna be searching for stuff for a very long time.
Yes.
There's lots of stuff to find here,
which is great. So because there's always, you brought up the speedrunners who will get the bare minimum to keep advancing, but there's still a lot of content for them. But then I prefer trying to find everything like I did when I played Super Mario 64.
Right.
So I'm really excited for that
as
well.
This is a much more like demanding platforming section.
Yes. Yes.
I failed on this.
You failed. Yes, that's right. You start using use Cappy for this a little bit differently and trying to explore to the next area. And trying to dodge all the explosions that are going on in here, a little bit different than what we showed already. So yeah, no, I'm glad you got to play it too. Like, what was the biggest surprise for you, Daniel, when you were playing through this?
I love how brilliantly weird it is. Like, it's surreal. Like, all those transformations just make me really happy, because for me, like, a Mario game is a game that's like bursting with ideas. Some developers would take one of these mechanics and make a whole game around it. Right. Mario has this mechanic, it's there for a level, and then it's discarded because there's another one around the corner. And I love that in the trailer. Like this guy
I love
weird
here.
Stuff like
the
this.
Moai. The Moai are these another character you can capture. If you notice, when the sunglasses are up, you can't see everything, but when the sunglasses pop down, you can see a platform appears.
Oh.
Yeah. See, like another game would build an entire game around that.
That's incredibly cool.
So they have the Moai, so you're kind of running around this way.
And I feel like between the experimentation of finding what you can throw your hat at and designing your character itself by trying on different outfits and stuff like that, there's a lot more customization than we've seen in almost definitely any 3D Mario game before.
Yes. Okay, yes. When you have the glasses down, the Moai walks slower. But when it's up, you run faster, but you take the chance of good luck.
And you don't look as cool.
You don't look as
everyone
cool,
knows sunglasses make you look cool.
Don't look nearly as cool.
Now we've got the Mario hat now has eyes. Is there a sort of narrative behind that? Is it a living thing? Can it speak?
His name is Cappy.
Okay.
It's a little bit different behind it. Essentially, they wanted to give Mario someone to go on his adventure with, so he's not just on his own, hence Cappy. But we don't know the whole story behind who is Cappy, what is Cappy, and how it all ties into the main story.
Does Cappy speak?
Nothing to say at this time. Not yet.
We'll see, because I don't see a mouth, I see eyes. Super Mario Odyssey is by far my most anticipated Switch game, I think. Many people. What sort of secrets can people look forward to finding on the show floor?
Oh, geez.
Without spoiling too much.
Without spoiling anything. I mean, Daniel played it a bit too, but it's a demo you get to play, and we already had people who've been trying to play through the demo, and they played through like 20, 30 times, and they haven't found everything.
I get nowhere close to any of this stuff.
It helps a little bit. I think that we have a little bit, the timer's not fully running, so there's a little bit of a difference there.
Seeing this is just surreal. There are moments where you're like, I don't even know if this is a Mario game or not. There's just so much insane things happening.
I think the T-Rex does that because it's like a realistic T-Rex. It's not in the Mario art style, and I like that idea that he's traveling so far from his like comfort zone, his home world.
Yes.
And I think that's
and it was
really
weird because
cool.
when you see the intro to that trailer, at first you're like, why is there a T-Rex? And then all of a sudden it turns around and has a little mustache, and Cappy's on top at the same time. So it's really interesting to see all the different characters will have the opportunity to take over and capture, like the Goombas, the Koopas, all those, the Bills, and see how that all breaks down.
All right. Well, Super Mario Odyssey is out this fall?
Yes.
Yep. October?
Yes.
Yes. Do we have a day in October?
I think it is this fall. It is this fall. I don't
this
have
fall.
the exact
We'll
date.
figure it out.
We'll give you the exact
it's also on the show floor right now, so if you're here, you can play it. Coming up next, we've got a special edition of Game Scoop Live at E3 in just a minute, so stay tuned.
Pretty sure it's October 27th. I think you said.
IGN Live at E3 2017 is presented by Atomic Blonde. In theaters July 28th. Catch an early screening on June 13th. For more details, visit the link on your screen.
Someone set me up. Someone from the inside.
The biggest entertainment event of the year is almost here, and we've got your all-access pass. IGN live from San Diego Comic-Con. World premiere trailers and breaking news as it happens. The biggest stars and the world's best cosplay. IGN live from Comic-Con. Coverage starts July 19.
IGN is the world's #1 media brand for video games and entertainment. From breaking news and brand new trailers to reviews, let's plays, and the latest tips and tricks. IGN brings you the videos you crave everywhere you watch. Whether you're on the IGN app, PlayStation, Xbox, YouTube, Facebook, Snapchat, or IGN.com, IGN's got you covered on everything you care about. IGN, the #1 source for video game fans worldwide.
Did you know that IGN has an app that gives you all the tools you love right in the palm of your hands? It's fast, and you can save videos and articles for later, check your personalized feed, or check out all the latest reviews. Download it now on the iOS or Android App Store.
Two friends, one controller. IGN's Link Together turned Zelda Breath of the Wild into a co-op experience where Link is controlled by two players via splitting the Joy-Cons. Hyrule becomes a much more dangerous place, and friendships teeter on the edge. Check out Link Together Thursdays at 3 p.m. Pacific.
And I won the competition. The prize was a professional drive with Nissan. I've been doing that now since 2011, racing for Nissan now in Japan for the last 2 years. Yeah, I like to think that my experience with Gran Turismo was quite vast. I do pinch myself now and then, sort of think, okay, what exactly happened to lead to where I am now, in Kazunori's office, and talking to you. Each step was a big deal. As a kid, I didn't think about the ladder, the route to become a professional driver, because it just, you're 7 years old, 8 years old, you don't think about these things. Plus, I didn't have any family involved in motorsports, so I never knew how it worked. Gran Turismo filled that gap. People coming from Gran Turismo into GT Academy, you don't have to sit them down in a classroom and talk to them about racing lines and how to brake and where to pick up the throttle and when you're scrubbing the front tyres with understeer, because it's already there, they already know, and that's just through playing the game. And then GT Academy, when you get to Silverstone, when you get to the finals, and you have an instructor next to you, and he has a mirror, he has a couple of mirrors inside the car, and you're thrashing this GTR on the track and having the time of your life trying to drive quick. And he's angled the mirror so he's looking, he can see your eyes. He's not even looking where you're going, he's just watching your eyes. On games, no matter how big your TV is, your eyes never really need to move. Whereas in real life, they need to be you could be turning left, and you need to be looking 200 meters down the road, looking right. It's just a gaming trait that has to be cleared if you want to make the jump into real life. They have a lot of the skills, how to drive a car quick already before coming to GT Academy, and then they just polish it and find the raw speed. So I tried the new Thrustmaster wheel, and I've had all the versions in the past. This wheel, it's belt driven, but it just gives you a real connection. If you almost feel that you're driving a real car with the steering wheel. You have that constant load through the steering lock, and it's the same. So it's very linear and feels normal, which is what you want. You can feel them just before and when you're actually over slipping the tires. It's hard to describe, but it vibrates, and the load in the steering wheel, the feedback it gives you, I can't put it into words, but it's different. It feels real. So what I'm most excited about for GT Sport is the physics. That's the most important thing to me, because I want to use this game to have fun, and for me, I like to have fun when the car feels as realistic as possible. So I've just done like 4 laps on the Nürburgring, half an hour run for the first time, just having fun, sweating and everything, but it's very immersive.
Welcome back to IGN Live at E3 in a special edition of GameScoop. I'm your host, Damon Hatfield. Joining me today are Justin Davis, Sam Claiborne, and Lucy O'Brien.
E3's over.
Yep, it's done. Back up, ready to go home.
Thank goodness. We did it, guys. All the scoops, they're in.
We are at least through all the big press conferences, and now the show floor is just about to open in a few minutes, where we'll be bringing you live game demos for the rest of the week. But man, we've been going at E3 hard for several days now already. We were just about to recap all the big announcements of the week so far. So if you've missed anything, this is definitely the place to be. We're going to talk about Sony, we're going to talk about Microsoft, we're going to talk about Nintendo. But first, if this is your first time catching a GameScoop, this is IGN's weekly video game talk show. It goes up on Thursdays. You can catch it on IGN, YouTube at youtube.com/GameScoop, or an Apple Podcast. You can subscribe to our podcast. And we just get together once a week and talk about what's been going on in video games. It's a good time. We play some fun games.
We play games and talk about games.
Yeah, you should tune into the show sometime. All right, first off, one of the biggest topics of the show this year, if not the biggest topic, what do we think of the Xbox One X?
Well, I mean, it's certainly the biggest topic from an IGN traffic standpoint. That's the thing that people just can't get enough about, can't watch enough videos, read enough articles. The big question going into the show was with the price, right? Is this thing going to be $400, $500 more? It was a big question mark because we knew that they were cramming so much technology into this box, and we finally got that answered to, I don't know, some mixed feelings from people.
Well, what's your feeling?
I mean, I think for true 4K, 4K games to get that, 30 FPS, 60 FPS, I don't think you can do that for less than $500. So, is that a bummer? That's a lot of money. Yeah, it's a little bit disappointing, but I'm not surprised at all by that price tag.
Sam, how about you?
I haven't even been convinced to buy a PlayStation Pro yet until I saw Shadow of the Colossus. Now I'm convinced. But that's why the games lineup amounts to so much when we're talking about investing in a new console. And they had a really good games lineup, but nothing that's making me lean towards paying another $500 for another Xbox One so far.
Yeah, I think some people were expecting some sort of big exclusive to be announced for the Xbox One X, but the whole idea is that all these games have to be able to play on the family of Xboxes, isn't that right? Lucy, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I'm still a little confused as to how it's going to fit into my current ecosystem of consoles. I've got a PC, I've got all of the other major consoles. I'm not sure that I need it, and I'm not sure at this point who needs it. I'm just not sure who it's for. I'm also really curious, how are we shortening this? Is it like Xbox with a number one and then an X?
I solved that. It's Wonks. Xbox Wonks.
Wonks.
1X. Wonks.
Okay.
Very sexy.
WUNX. If you're going to text it.
Yeah, if you're going to.
It shortens it exactly 0.
Yeah.
It's the same amount of characters, but you can just pronounce it Wonks.
Well, I think Microsoft delivered on what they promised. They delivered the most powerful console of all time.
Yeah.
It's a cool looking box. Somehow it's even smaller.
How is it so tiny?
It's so tiny. I love the box itself.
Yeah,
like
cool.
Aesthetically, it's beautiful.
$500 seems okay for me for, it's a premium gaming experience. I don't feel the need. I don't feel like I need to jump into 4K gaming right now. That's not really like.
I mean, I don't have a 4K TV yet,
Yeah,
and maybe the prices keep coming down and down. I almost got one last Christmas, but there's still, maybe this will be the year that, there's the great look, HDR, 4K, high refresh rate. This is the TV, finally, if you're ready to jump into 4K. Maybe it's all just going to gel this holiday season.
Yeah. What were you going to say?
Well, I was just going to say they have to make this an essential console before the next generation, which is in 2.5 years now?
I mean, well, yeah, unless the rules have all been thrown out the door, and now there's just no more console generations. But Microsoft did show off a very, very pretty new game. They showed off Metro Exodus.
Yeah.
And that's something like...
Absolutely.
I almost have a hard time... It was so beautiful, I have a hard time believing the actual game would look that good.
Yeah, what's the video version of a bull shot?
Yeah. Well, I'll work on that. Okay. But if they were like, yes, this game really does look this good on Xbox One X, then I might start being convinced.
Yeah, for sure. There's also bears are a big theme of E3 this year.
Yep.
And that had one of the bears in it.
Yeah, exactly. More of a monster bear than a zombie bear.
Yeah, like a mutant bear.
Yeah.
I haven't played the Metro games.
You haven't played any of them?
No, but I would totally play this game. It looks fantastic.
Yeah, I thought
really
this game
like
looked
the story behind Metro and stuff. So.
Yeah, the world
cool.
that we were shown just seemed very lived in and cohesive and gorgeous for that reason. Everything looked like it was meant to be there and had been lived in.
Yeah.
I mean, I think this is one of those franchises. I played the very original Metro, and they've been making sequels since. And this is a game that it feels like they're punching up. It reminds me of The Witcher in that way, where each one was a little bit bigger budget, a little bit higher profile. And now with Metro Exodus, like this trailer, at least, we'll see if the game follows through on it. But the trailer was a statement. Hey, Metro, this is a AAA franchise now. You can't sleep on it. You can't ignore it. And it gives me Witcher 3 vibes in that sense.
And in a conference full of boats, it had a train.
Yeah, I did have a very cool train scene that ended on. Like this game, this looks incredible.
Yeah.
I know this isn't straight gameplay. It's fudged a little bit.
Same as Sam. You have to take. I'm always kind of trying to suss out at E3 how real is what we're seeing.
Yeah.
And sometimes, hey, to their credit, the game comes out and it looks like exactly what they demoed at E3. But sometimes the finished product, you go, you're definitely fudging things a little bit. So we'll have to wait and see more on Metro.
Yeah. Like you said. Well, I did play the last Metro game. It was probably 2010 or 11.
Last Light was the last one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's cool. It's a good game, but not maybe what first comes to mind when you think of like premier first-person shooters. So it is interesting that Microsoft would choose to align themselves with this game, show it off during their conference. Does that tell you that they really believe in this game? That they think it's going to be something special?
Well, I mean, people were teasing Microsoft a little bit about, console exclusive, Xbox exclusive, and exactly what does that mean? Is it going to have some content that's not on other platforms, or is it coming out first on this platform? And I think some of that we're not going to learn until E3, like the exact nature of the relationship that all these third-party games have with the Xbox One X.
Yeah.
It worked. Our audience is really excited for it. I love how Justin already brought up like traffic stats and what we can share, and that's one that's just really taken off.
Yeah,
it's
interesting because I honestly haven't given two thoughts about Metro for a long time. I sort of thought that it was one of those series that had kind of just been quietly shelved. And it's amazing to see that people are so interested in this game.
Yeah, for sure. At Microsoft's conference, they also gave us the debut of Anthem, the new big game from BioWare. And we finally have a little bit more of an idea of what this game's going to be like. What do you guys think?
To me, it's my favorite announcement of E3 so far. I've been thinking about it. I mean, look, I think Mario looks great. I'm really excited for all the VR stuff. But for me, E3 is all about showing me something brand new. Like, I'm a huge fan of franchises that have been around for decades, and I'm happy to see those heroes and worlds come back. But show me a new world, show me new characters, new ideas, and that's where Anthem really delivered on the promise of E3 for me.
Sam, what do you think?
I don't know what it is. It looks like it's a shooter, but if it's part Iron Man, then I really want to play it. If it's all shooter, I don't really care that much, especially if it's going after that kind of Destiny vibe. I'm a single-player gamer.
Yeah.
That's why I'm so excited for Metro. That's why I'm not excited for this.
I see.
Yeah, I mean, I sit somewhere in the middle. I didn't get new, unique vibes from this game at all. In fact, it looked to me like a bunch of games that I'd already seen crammed into one universe. It was a little bit Horizon. It's a lot Destiny.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think I need to see more to be sold on it. I'm very intrigued by the idea, especially because I love the jetpack stuff. That looks really exciting. But yeah, until I actually get to play it, I'm not quite sold. I'm not quite there.
There's like a BioWare type of game too, and I still don't know what this game is, but I want to play BioWare type games from BioWare, though I want them to try different things like that Sonic RPG. I still will always look forward to the BioWare RPG.
If it's a Destiny with a great story, which is what we've come to expect from BioWare, then I'm in.
Yeah.
I mean, if that's the elevator pitch, I'm down.
I mean, what they've shown here of Anthem is absolutely gorgeous.
Yeah.
But like Sam, it just makes me imagine playing a KOTOR that looks like this, right? That looks this beautiful. But I love the verticality of it. I love that you start way up here at the space and you go all the way down to the ground, to the forest, underwater.
That was
all
the
stuff
best
is
part.
really
We
cool.
cheered in the room when that happened.
Yeah. But then they bring in the multiplayer stuff and the loot aspect and all of the Destiny aspects of it too, which like Sam, I'm more of a single player gamer.
Yeah.
But I agree
Nothing
with Lucy.
wrong with multiplayer.
Nothing at all. It's just my preference. But like Lucy said, if they are able to work in that great BioWare storytelling into the Destiny model, maybe that would really hook me. Justin, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I think every E3 press conference is always trying to kind of cast a spell over you, right? Like, don't ask too many questions about when is it coming out, does the game really look that way? It's just kind of trying to hit you with game after game after game and sort of tell a story. And Microsoft, they pulled off, in my opinion, a fairly successful press conference with no Halo and no Gears of War. And they did that thanks to the strength of games like Metro and games like Anthem. I think it totally worked in that sense.
And think about immediately, we're going to get to this later, but immediately after Metroid Prime 4 was announced, I saw a lot of people being pretty negative, what, it's just a title screen.
Yeah.
We're not going to hear about this game for how long? Well, we're not going to hear about this game either or play it for a very long time. People were still excited, and nobody was disappointed about the reveal.
Well, Microsoft and EA are talking about this as a 2018 game. So maybe it's not that long if it comes out next year. To play devil's advocate, the cynic in me wonders if this is EA saying, we need a Destiny. We need a game as service.
That's clearly what it is.
Yeah.
I mean, I think we're going to see a lot more games in the Destiny model, and this is just the first really high-profile one.
Yeah.
But yes, Destiny has been such a success story for Activision that it seems absurd to not follow in that model. And this is clearly what we're seeing here.
Yeah, I get that. I just think BioWare might be a strange choice to make that Destiny for EA.
Yeah, maybe this is the game they wanted to make, though, and more power to them.
That's true. Yeah. All right, tell me what you thought of the Microsoft conference overall. Was it a success for Microsoft this year?
I think so. Yeah, I kind of already touched on this. The goal of any conference is just to sort of transport you to another place for an hour and really come out of it as excited as you can be. And they did that, sort of resting their big franchises that they've really relied on since this generation started.
Dude, Lucy's reviewing press conferences for us for years.
Yeah.
I'd like to hear your review.
But I'm not doing it this year.
You got 30 seconds.
I thought it was really successful. It had some great indie games that actually really captured people's attention.
Got some whoops and cheers in the war room for that.
Yeah, some
where we watch it.
really interesting, unique titles that I can't wait to get hands-on with at the show. And yeah, I mean, I don't feel like any of the press conferences have been competitive in the way that they've been in the past. I don't feel like there was a sense of Microsoft trying to win or Sony trying to win. I felt that they were just kind of going off on their own thing. I think Microsoft had the edge because they showed off new hardware, and that's always really exciting. So yeah, I mean, for my money, I thought Microsoft did a great job. It was really solid. There were no low points. It was the right length. Yeah, I think it was great.
I will say, I don't think they did enough. You know, and this is someone that liked the conference, but, you know, with that in mind, I don't think they did enough to convince people you have to spend $500 on the Xbox One X. And Xbox One X, you actually can't go out and pre-order it now. There was some sort of mix-up there, and maybe it's deliberate, but it's not a console that the show ended, and hey, go give us your $500 on, you know, Amazon or Best Buy now.
Yeah. So they gave us a release date, but it's not available to pre-order yet.
Not yet.
Yeah, that is interesting.
It felt very Sony in the sense that it was game.
Sure.
Yeah. And I thought it was going to be all Scorpio, and I'm very Xbox Onks.
Yeah, we've been doing that all week.
And I'm very happy that it was all game and just a little bit of Onks.
Yeah. Well, the dialogue among the IGN audience and gamers everywhere has been that Xbox has no games. It's not true, but that's what people like to say. And what they mean is they don't have the lineup of exclusives that Sony and Nintendo have, right? Microsoft wasn't able to change that dialogue, I don't think. They did show off a lot of games, and a lot of games that focus on multiplayer, online multiplayer. I think they're really trying to engage the Xbox Live audience. So I think something like PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds, Sea of Thieves.
You're not talking about Cuphead.
No, not Cuphead, but although we did finally get a date on Cuphead.
Yeah.
That's coming in September.
Yes. I still, Sea of Thieves is really interesting because clearly that's one that they've been pushing for a couple of years now. I'm still not quite sure how to play that game. And interestingly, I didn't feel like the demo made it any clearer.
All right, let's switch gears to Sony now. Did Sony play it too safe this year? They did it. They came out again, game, but it was all not much new. It was stuff that we already knew about.
Yeah, I mean, that was my takeaway from the Sony conference. You know, I'm a giant fan of all those franchises, and I thought what they showed off looked great, but there was almost nothing brand new. You know, it was a deeper look at God of War. It was a deeper look at Spider-Man, which was teased last year. You know, even some of the announcements that got the biggest cheers in the war room, like Shadow of the Colossus, you know, that's a remake, and that's not to take away from, like, I want to play it. It looks gorgeous. I'm glad that it's happening, but it's still not, again, like I said with Anthem, I'm in E3 for show me something that I've never seen before, and Sony felt very comfortable doing very little of that this year.
I totally agree with you on all those points, and I'd add that I'm worried about what Sony is going to have for me to play this fall, and they didn't explain that. They didn't give dates to some of their games, and then some of them are clearly 2018.
Knack 2.
Yeah. But VR is going to be back this fall, and there was a cool reel of like wacky VR games, including the Final Fantasy fishing game, which is just hilarious.
But are you excited for Shadow of the Colossus?
Of course.
I mean, that's got to be one of the biggest surprises.
I think that's one of my
show,
top
right?
3 announcements at this show. I think it's so exciting to be playing a new Shadow of the Colossus game. That's the same game. That's a perfect game. It's going to look great.
Yeah.
I thought that announcement, Sony traditionally has kind of banked on a sense of theatricality in their press releases, not press releases, in their press conferences. And that was kind of missing this year, but as soon as that Shadow of the Colossus trailer started playing, I felt it again. I was like, yes, you guys know exactly what you're doing.
What's out first, that or Final Fantasy VII?
It's amazing. No, I think Shadow of the Colossus appears to be farther along somehow. Final Fantasy VII. It's amazing that we knew exactly what it was when we saw the horse's legs. Like we knew it was Shadow of the Colossus somehow. Because it's imprinted in our minds.
They didn't even have to blast the Colossus killing music or anything.
Yeah, exactly.
Just a little wisp of that at the end. That music's so good.
I know.
We did get an extended look at Spider-Man from Insomniac, which is absolutely one of the most anticipated games with our audience.
I mean, definitely a front runner for Game of the Show, which, you know, that and God of War are strong candidates to the E3 Game of the Show. You know, I don't think anyone's surprised to see this turn out so well. You know, Insomniac has a fantastic pedigree with, what was their Xbox game that they made? Sunset Overdrive.
Yep.
You know, Sunset Overdrive gave off kind of Spider-Man vibes several years ago, but I'm just happy to see that, you know, it looks like it's delivering. You know, it's delivering on the vision for a next-gen Spider-Man game that we all sort of hoped it would.
Do we know if this is playable?
Ooh.
They've got,
I don't know yet.
I think it's on Sony's show floor, so I think it actually is playable here at the show.
It's at the booth. I don't know if it's playable, and it needs to be because this was a lot of quick time events and a lot of battles, and I want to swing.
Yeah. I mean, at this stage, even though we saw a lot, we still don't really know whether it's an open world.
Isn't that crazy?
It looks very linear in parts, and then in other parts it looks like a sandbox. So it's really hard to tell. I want it to be a sandbox. I want to be able to swing. I mean, that's the whole point, right?
Doesn't this remind you of Arkham?
It does.
This part in particular, I was just saying last night at the post-show, this is just Arkham all over. But with the added addition of environmental sort of additions, really, like the way that Spidey can use the environment in combat.
I mean, I always love how in these demos, they're so like they're able to make the game, every single environment that you can interact with, every single move. You're never seeing Spider-Man do the same thing twice. When I'm playing this game, it's going to be the same 3-button combo over and over again.
Whatever is the most effective. All right, we did get a new trailer for God of War. How's that sitting with you? How's God of War sitting with you now?
That snake was the coolest thing of the conference.
I agree with you.
A beard snake.
The bearded serpent is my favorite moment of E3 so far.
I was saying this last night, but the serpent reveal that he's actually wanting to help is just another way that this game is kind of subverting its history and giving a little wink to its past.
Because normally he'd be killing that serpent. Is that what you're
Normally
implying?
he would be killing that serpent without question.
He'll probably kill it anyway.
So this was revealed last year with a new setting for Kratos. He's got a son now, and then they also appear to be exploring new game mechanics for God of War, maybe some RPG elements, crafting, some open world exploration. So with this new look at the game, did this change your perception of what God of War is now?
I mean, we just saw a little tiny peek at it last year, and we're all kind of hopeful that the finished game would deliver on, that vision that they gave us in 2016. And now with this deeper look, it definitely seems like that's the case. I really appreciate Sony's willingness to, rest God of War for a while, and then bring it back with, look, it's still going to be brutal, it's still going to be very in your face, but we're not doing fixed camera angles anymore. We're not having Kratos sort of be a lone hero anymore. Just throw out, be willing to reinvent what it means to be a God of War game. And they're not doing Greek mythology anymore. I think it's great.
Sam, you and I have very similar tastes for certain games, Horizon, Tomb Raider. How is God of War sitting with you?
So as soon as I see a vista, a beautiful scene, and I know it's like I can go anywhere in it, plus there's giant monsters, I'm sold on that.
Yep. Justin, you said this is a potential candidate for Game of the Show.
I think so, yeah. I mean, it was our runner-up for Game of the Show last year, lost to Zelda, which, obviously ended up being...
We were right.
Yeah, we can't climb everything in God of War.
Yeah, so, that little tiny glimpse impressed us so much last year that this has to be on the short list for Game of the Year this year.
All right, Sony also showed an extended look at Days Gone. Lucy, what do you think of the new look at Days Gone?
Yeah, I mean, I think that we were all a little bit like, what was that? After the demo last year, which was very much just focused on running away from a giant zombie horde. And this year we were shown a few more mechanics, how this character can distract zombies, and there are other enemies. It's not just a running away from zombie game. There are humans. There was the zombie bear. I think it looks a lot more interesting. I still want to see more. I still I can't get the sense of it as a sort of cohesive whole yet. But yeah, I'm really excited by what we saw last night.
I wasn't impressed. Really? I don't intend to be too dismissive. This is still a game that maybe the finished product could absolutely turn out and be fantastic and worth people's time. But if I never see someone, grab an enemy from behind and pull him into the bushes again, I'd be all right. It feels very 10, 15 years ago. Again, this game could come out and be fantastic and absolutely worth playing, but as an E3 demo, it didn't build my hype level.
Sam, how about you?
There's just one cool thing I know. I agree with Justin on this and Lucy. There's one cool thing I noticed is that every zombie that you see is kind of making its own decision.
Yeah.
And when you have 100 of those on screen, that's a really impressive era we're in with on-screen AI.
Yeah.
That looks next gen to me.
Exactly.
And if that zombie horde had the sort of AI that, say, the monsters do in Horizon, where it's kind of thinking for itself, I mean, that's so fun. That would make for a really fun game.
Yeah, the tech is really impressive to me, and the idea of using these roaming zombie hordes as weapons, weaponizing them to use against your enemies. That all seems very cool to me. So I don't know. I was kind of lukewarm last year, but the more I'm seeing of Days Gone, the more excited I'm getting about that one. Did that get a release window? Release date? I don't think so.
I don't think so.
It has zero release window attached to it.
All right, stick around. We will have more Game Scoop right after this short break.
IGN Live.
The biggest entertainment event of the year is almost here, and we've got your All Access Pass. IGN live from San Diego Comic-Con. World premiere trailers and breaking news as it happens. The biggest stars and the world's best cosplay. IGN live from Comic-Con. Coverage starts July 19.
Two friends, one controller. IGN's Link Together turned Zelda Breath of the Wild into a co-op experience where Link is controlled by two players via splitting the Joy-Cons. Hyrule becomes a much more dangerous place, and friendships teeter on the edge. Check out Link Together Thursdays at 3 p.m. Pacific.
IGN is the world's #1 media brand for video games and entertainment. From breaking news and brand new trailers to reviews, let's plays, and the latest tips and tricks, IGN brings you the videos you crave everywhere you watch. Whether you're on the IGN app, PlayStation, Xbox, YouTube, Facebook, Snapchat, or IGN.com, IGN's got you covered on everything you care about. IGN, the #1 source for video game fans worldwide.
Did you know that IGN has an app that gives you all the tools you love right in the palm of your hands? It's fast, and you can save videos and articles for later, check your personalized feed, or check out all the latest reviews. Download it now on the iOS or Android App Store.
Welcome back to IGN Live at E3 in a special edition of GameScoop. We covered Microsoft and Sony. Now it's time to talk about Nintendo. Super Mario Odyssey had a big reveal today. Sam, I know you were looking for it. Were you satisfied?
Odyssey, yeah, it looks incredible. More hats than ever. No, but seriously, I really like the new world they showed, and I like how it looks like a completely new Mario game with a new mechanic. It's not all about jumping. It's about like inhabiting these things and actually thinking through puzzles in a different way, and also a lot of jumping.
Yeah, there's been many moments at E3 this year where the IGN War Room erupted in like shouts and cheers and laughter. But during this Mario Odyssey demonstration, it was just constant because there's so many cool things happening in this game.
And the music itself alone, if you guys didn't watch it with sound on, watch it again. It has some good tunes in it.
And it has 8-bit pixelated Mario in it too.
Yeah.
And it's only 4 months away. A game comes out in October.
Yeah,
so exciting.
Actually, I think it comes out the same day as Assassin's Creed and Wolfenstein 2. So we have some very serious choices to make in our lives coming up soon.
Yep.
Nintendo also announced Metroid Prime 4. We just got a logo. But Justin, what do you think? Is this is Nintendo finally answering fans' demands for more Metroid?
I mean, it's not Retro making it. You know, they didn't make a big stink about that on their press conference. We found out kind of afterwards that it's a new team. So, you know, new team, we'll have to see. Like, I kind of don't know what more to say than that. You know, the Metroid Prime saga, to me, was kind of finished. I'm the world's biggest Metroid fan. Super Metroid's my favorite game. So I'm glad that Nintendo, you know, is finally giving Metroid some love. But without Retro behind the wheel, you know, we're kind of have to take a wait-and-see approach, I think.
Lucy, what do you think about the reveal of Metroid Prime 4?
Yeah, I mean, it was, from my perspective, I'm not a huge Metro person. I'm very excited that it exists, but really that's all there is to say about it. It exists. Well, at least it exists in concept. We have no idea how far away this game is. I don't expect to see it for a few years.
Well, I got to hear from Sam. He's a big Metroid Prime fan.
Yeah, if I could turn on the waterworks again, I would. But I think one important thing that just that title screen tells us is that it's not Metroid Other M. It's not a new Metroid spin-off. This is Metroid Prime 4. And that means there's 3 amazing games to just copy and do those. They already did it right. You know, that's good news.
Nintendo announced another Metroid game for 3DS that's coming very soon in September. That's a remake of Metroid 2 on Game Boy. They announced new Yoshi, new Kirby. They announced a brand new full mainline Pokemon RPG is coming to Switch. First time ever coming to a home console. So what do we think of Nintendo's performance overall this year?
I mean, it was very thin. I was surprised to see no Smash, get Mario Kart, or Smash not get the Mario Kart treatment. I kind of think, like E3 last year, they only had Zelda. And this year they didn't only have Mario. They had a few other announcements. So it was really all about Mario. And it kind of doesn't matter if your E3 presence is that thin if the one thing that you have to show off or blow out is like that good. And I think Mario does look that good. I think, like Spider-Man and God of War, I think it's a front runner for Game of the Show.
Sam, what about Nintendo's overall performance?
Yeah, if it was all Mario, I still would have been happy. But like Justin, I come to E3 to see complete surprises, and they may have been kind of like squeezed in there, but they had them, and I'm incredibly excited.
Lucy?
I mean, I was pleasantly surprised because I thought it was going to be all Mario. So I was surprised to see that there were other games announced as well. One thing that was pointed out to me after was that a lot of the show was very much, this is a concept. We didn't get dates. A lot of the time it was just sort of a brief trailer or a title screen. So in that regard, it was a little bit disappointing, but I'm still happy with the announcements.
All right, we have to move on to some of the other big games of the show. Star Wars Battlefront 2 from EA. They unveiled a big multiplayer match, and some people are finally starting to see the single-player campaign that was lacking from the first game. Justin, what do you think?
I mean, EA got the Star Wars license, I'm not sure how many years ago, and our minds just went wild with like, well, BioWare could be back, Visceral, all these companies. And Battlefront, while it was great, for me, it didn't have staying power, because it was just kind of this fairly shallow multiplayer-only experience. Like, we're getting a Star Wars campaign, with new story, voice acting, new characters, that still hasn't really sunk in for me yet. So, yeah, I mean, this is definitely one that I think it answered. I mean, that was EA's marketing line, but I think they're totally right that it answered all the sort of fan complaints or concerns about the original.
Sam, you're a big Star Wars fan, but as we said, not a huge multiplayer gamer, so is Battlefront 2 speaking to you?
Yeah, I got to see a little bit of the single-player campaign, a little bit more of it, and there was a really cool scene with this robot playing the Emperor, or, there was some kind of recording of the Emperor, and it was just a really cool, wacky idea that's in Star Wars lore right now, and that scene was acted well. The facial animations are really great, which is important for EA right now, right? Because of Mass Effect stuff.
Yeah.
And that was all really exciting. And then the gameplay was a lot of, shooting rebels in a spaceship.
The gameplay was what we've seen before a million times over.
Totally.
But you're right. I jumped during that bit with the robot Palpatine. It was terrifying.
Yeah, it was good. It felt new.
Well, after many leaks, Ubisoft finally debuted Assassin's Creed Origins. Lucy, do you get the sense that this game is going to rejuvenate the Assassin's Creed franchise?
Well, I mean, that's what we say with every new Assassin's Creed, right? Will this be the one? I think it looks beautiful. I'm hoping that Ubisoft has learned from its past mistakes and doesn't make it too busy. But yeah, I'm excited for it. I love the Eagle tech that they're using. I think they're actually calling it Eagle tech.
Eagle tech.
I'm excited for it. It looks stunning, and I just love the fact that it's set in Egypt. I think that's a really cool new setting for Assassin's Creed.
I think it's the best setting, definitively, for Assassin's Creed. It's the one I always wanted.
It makes sense, right? It seems like the perfect fit.
Yeah, there's cool dungeons and temples to explore and stuff like that, and then there's a giant, cool open world that's very pretty.
Justin, I know you're a big fan of Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag. Is Origins speaking to you?
No, not really. Again, it's sort of the same as Days Gone. I do want to play it for myself and make up my own mind, but it is very, very different, which, I commend Ubisoft for that, but I don't know that it's different enough.
We also saw a trailer for Beyond Good and Evil 2. It actually exists. It's actually happening, 13 years later, 14 years later?
Yeah.
Sam, what do you think?
Well, I do know that we're going to be getting some more information on that game at the show, and it is a game. It's not just a trailer so far. That's really exciting. I want to hear so much more about it before I make any calls, but I loved that series. I loved that one game. But here's the thing. There was nothing to play on GameCube at the time, and it was like a Zelda-like, and that went a long way. So I think a lot of people have very fond memories of it for that reason. It filled a gap that just didn't, it was a special time.
Justin, did you play it back in the day?
Dude, I love Beyond Good and Evil. I'm so happy the sequel exists. The tone of the trailer, it's very mature and M-rated. Lots of F-bombs. It's very gritty.
Different.
Yeah.
So the original was a woman and her camera and her staff. Kind of trying to take down. It was a very take down a corrupt government. It was a very sort of warm game. With themes of family and. So in that sense, I kind of don't know what to make of Beyond Good and Evil 2. I hope it doesn't veer in a completely different direction. It seems like it is. So I have very mixed feelings. I'm very, very glad it exists. I hope it doesn't forget why we all like the original.
Yeah. Well, at both the Ubisoft and Nintendo shows, we finally got to see Mario plus Rabbids Kingdom Battle. I think that's how it's pronounced.
Yeah,
not Mario
that's
and
exactly
Rabbids.
how it's pronounced. Yeah.
There was some skepticism about this game, but Lucy, now that we actually know what it is, what do you think?
Well, I mean, it's so absurd, and once you get over the absurdity of it and look at what the game actually is, and it's strategic. It's more like XCOM than a Mario game or a Rabbids game, which I think was a pleasant surprise for everyone because we just were like, oh, this is gonna. I mean, I'm sorry, I was just like, this is gonna be so dumb. But then, you know, I was so pleasantly surprised that there is actually depth to the gameplay.
Yeah, I'm intrigued as well. You know, I'm a big tactics, turn-based strategy fan, and I like XCOM, so it's like, well, maybe it's gonna be worth trying to put up with the Rabbids to play this game.
I completely agree. You're going to have to put up with the Rabbids to play this game.
All right, it is time now for the biggest upgrades of E3 presented by 5 Hour Energy. Upgrade number 1, Xbox One X. You know, Microsoft has been promising most powerful console of all time, a mid-generation hardware upgrade. And we talked about it a little bit at the top of the show, but let's reiterate. Did Microsoft successfully sell people on Xbox One X?
I mean, if you have a 4K TV, you have to give the Xbox One X a very, very close look. It's going to be the cheapest way to get, you know, really excellent 4K gameplay. If you don't, I don't know that it did quite enough to really push people, you know, over the finish line with that.
Yeah, we'll see. Upgrade number 2, Shadow of the Colossus. Sam, this is a big surprise this year. We got, yesterday morning, we'd heard that Sony had quietly re-upped on the trademark for Shadow of the Colossus, and then it's not just a port, it's not available on PS Now, it's a full remake of the game. Is this an upgrade that people are really going to be excited about?
You know, there was one problem with Shadow of the Colossus, and it seems like really nitpicky, but it had frame rate issues, and when you were out there riding, and it was the most beautiful scene you could ever see, it stuttered. Yeah. This could fix that, and then it would be an even more perfect game.
That's true. There are also a bunch of colossi that were cut from the original game. Isn't that right? Don't you think? Would you think there's an opportunity to add those missing colossi to the game?
Yeah, or like a super hard mode, or anything that could possibly be added would be a reason to return to this world, as if it wasn't reason enough just to return to it to see it in its resplendent glory again.
All right, and upgrade number 3, Beyond Good and Evil 2. Lucy, do you get the sense that it's been so long since the original Beyond Good and Evil, the original game didn't even sell that well. Are they going to be able to get modern gamers on board with this game that they may not have even heard of?
I hope so. I mean, my verdict is obviously still out because we didn't get to see very much, and obviously the tone seems very different to the original game, just as Justin was saying earlier. But this is why I come to E3, is for these kinds of announcements. I mean, Beyond Good and Evil 2 was almost as like mythical as Half-Life 3.
Exactly.
And so actually to sort of see that reveal happen in real time was a huge rush, and I'm just so happy it exists.
Yeah.
I want to see more, of course I want to see more, but right now I'm just so happy it exists.
Well, I think you were saying last night, this is one of the few remaining games that people were hoping for a long time. Final Fantasy 15, Final Fantasy 7 Remake, The Last Guardian, Beyond Good and Evil 2, and now it's like, hey, Half-Life 3 is like the last one.
Yeah, it's the last one.
So E3 2018, Half-Life 3. Scoop. Oh my gosh, there's so much more to talk about, but we are out of time. That does it for this edition of GameScoop Live. You can catch new episodes of GameScoop every Thursday on IGN and YouTube.com/GameScoop, or subscribe to the podcast version, your choice. Stick around because we've got exclusive gameplay of Ubisoft's Skull and Bones and a whole lot more on the way when IGN Live at E3 continues.
Live at E3. Did you know that IGN has an app that gives you all the tools you love right in the palm of your hands? It's fast, and you can save videos and articles for later, check your personalized feed, or check out all the latest reviews. Download it now on the iOS or Android App Store.
The biggest entertainment event of the year is almost here, and we got your All Access Pass. IGN live from San Diego Comic-Con. World premiere trailers and breaking news as it happens. The biggest stars and the world's best cosplay. IGN live from Comic-Con. Coverage starts July 19.
2 friends, 1 controller. IGN's Link Together turned Zelda Breath of the Wild into a co-op experience where Link is controlled by 2 players via splitting the Joy-Cons. Hyrule becomes a much more dangerous place, and friendships teeter on the edge. Check out Link Together Thursdays at 3 p.m. Pacific.
IGN is the world's #1 media brand for video games and entertainment. From breaking news and brand new trailers to reviews, let's plays, and the latest tips and tricks, IGN brings you the videos you crave everywhere you watch. Whether you're on the IGN app, PlayStation, Xbox, YouTube, Facebook, Snapchat, or IGN.com, IGN's got you covered on everything you care about. IGN, the #1 source for video game fans worldwide.
Hello and welcome to IGN Live at E3. In just a minute, we'll go hands-on with Matterfall, the new game from Housemarque. And coming up, Middle-earth: Shadow of War is coming to the stage, and we'll have world premiere gameplay from Skull and Bones later on. Our complete E3 coverage is available everywhere. On IGN is available as well, and also on Twitter, e3.twitter.com. Remember to follow us at IGN for all the latest news. Here we got our schedule coming up right here. Very, very busy day. Now, Housemarque is known for fast-paced, intense score attack games like Super Stardust and Resogun, and they're here at E3 with their latest Matterfall. And Jari is here to walk us through it. Jari, thanks for coming on, man.
Yeah, thrilled to be here.
Good to see you. So I'm a huge fan of your games. I've been playing arcade, twitchy shooters my entire life, which I imagine you guys have as well. Tell me what separates Matterfall from everything else that Housemarque has made before.
Well, Matterfall in its core is a twin-stick shooter, but we added lots of elements from platforming games. So there's like moving platforms and seesaw elements, and then we added one more layer for bullet hell games, like shmup games. So it's like a combination of different old-school genres, and we are bringing them together in Matterfall.
It feels like you guys have made a lot of games that sort of started in the shmup genre, right? Yeah. But now I'm getting vibes of Mega Man from this. I'm getting old-school platforming action game vibes from this. It's super cool. There's almost even like sort of Metroid elements to it.
Yeah, it's like a streamlined Metroid, and we got inspiration from like Turrican and run and gun games like Gunstar Heroes. So those were like huge inspiration from us.
Right. No, that's awesome. Now, what made you guys decide to kind of get away from the ship-based shooting games?
Well, it's sometimes it's try something new.
Yeah.
So yeah.
You're like, we've been in ships for like 15 years now.
Let's do something else. Like let's try to do some character-based games.
Yep.
Yeah.
So what sort of inspired the idea behind this main character? Tell me a little about him or her.
Yeah, our main character is called Avalon Darrow. He's a mercenary, and we wanted him to be like this badass, but not like a hero character. So this is like being there, done that, and now I'm here again saving the city.
And it seems like the gameplay itself is a little more meticulous, calculated, a little slower paced than that sort of eye-searing, brain-exploding action of, say, something like Resogun.
We also have that there. We have like intense moments where you really need to like know how to play the game and utilize all the weapons and all your movesets. We also have that there.
But then you also give the players like
more
time
to breathe, and so it's not like 11 all the time.
Yep. Now, sort of what sort of, were there any kind of like films that inspired the design behind the character? He feels like very vintage 80s sci-fi.
Yeah, we got inspired by lots of like 80s action arcade games. More like the character is like just there to do his job and nothing else.
Now, is there a mini-map in this game?
No. It's quite linear. You go from left, right, or right to left, and there's a little bit exploring. So each level has like civilians that you need to rescue, and those are hidden.
Oh, cool.
And you get like new weapons and new augmentations from those civilians.
Did the civilians look like those little men in Resogun?
Yeah, but now they're looking like bigger men.
Oh, good.
But like the same idea.
I do appreciate that you guys make these like kind of hardcore twitchy-based shooters, but in the middle of it all, you're like, hey, help a few people too, save some friends.
Yeah, sure.
So it's really cool to see this sort of new 2D platforming design that you've evoked in this game here, where you're creating the platforms from scratch.
You can manage like the blue platforms with your Matter gun, and you can use those as like platforms or shields. You can shoot through them, but the enemies cannot come through them.
And here we've got...
Yeah, this is our awesome overcharge mode. When you collect those blue energy like orbs, you can then activate overcharge mode and then you have like extra firepower, you are invulnerable, and you get the highest score.
Which is awesome to give me like really like nostalgic Resogun vibes.
Yeah.
Because it's all of a sudden you've got this like Resogun level that just pops up.
Yeah.
So that's really cool because you guys were like, we want to make a 2D shooting game, but how do we evoke some of our games from the past? Yeah. I was going to ask you, like, what did you learn making your last few games that you brought to the table here?
Well, all of our games are like gameplay first, so we want to have the like fast-paced action and the like solid controls that you always feel that you are in control.
Now, one of the things that I really thought was impressive about Resogun, especially, was there at the launch of the PS4. And to me, you wouldn't think that a game like that would be a showcase of what the system's capable of doing graphically, but it absolutely was. And then it got even better with the PS4 Pro.
Yeah.
How is this taking advantage of everything that the PlayStation has to offer?
We have a HDR on the PS4 version, and we have like lots of like increased particle counts, and we have like the graphics are like through next gen.
Yeah.
And taking account of all PlayStation 4 power.
And it's sort of just like something that you can say, this is the lighting we're going to throw in here.
Yeah.
These are the explosions we're going to throw in here. And I think like the average person looks at this and they're like, oh, it's just lighting and explosions.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh no, these are highly technical.
Highly tuned and highly technical stuff. And we are still tuning them and making them more awesome.
Now, here we're seeing one of the enemies in the games. Are a lot of them...
one of the bigger enemies.
Oh, cool.
Like spiders. And now you can see the awesome explosion that it melts down. And
You guys don't do anything just sort of like simple?
No. Everything has to be like flashy and...
like if I dropped a coffee cup in your game, it would explode.
It would explode slow motion. I'll have a streak. And
I love that so much.
Yeah.
So the enemy design of this game, is it all sort of based on cybernetics, robotics?
Yeah, basically what happened is that the city that you are fighting on is built on alien technology. Mm-hmm. So this red matter. So every enemy is like red matter, it gets corrupted, and now you need to save the city from the corrupted red matter enemies.
So this was a place that was calm and normal before?
Normal before, and just like used blue matter, that everything was built on the blue matter.
And then alien disease got in there.
Yeah, it got corrupted and it's got red, and
is our main character trying to hunt down the source of that disease and just eradicate it?
Your job is just to clear out the city from the red matter enemies.
So he's kind of like Dr. Mario.
Yeah, basically.
That's awesome. Now let's talk about some of the different weapons that you get to use in this game.
You always have like your main weapon. It's the blue one, and you have like 4 different weapons that you get from the civilians that you save. They are you have like basic grenade, shotgun, sniper, and homing weapon. And here we utilize the grenade. Yeah,
which I love. I love
it bounces around, and you can do like trick shots with it.
Which I imagine is gonna people who play this game very fast paced. Which I am certain there will be like a very awesome speedrunning community behind this. Is that something you guys are designing around?
Yeah, we're designing the levels that you can just like push through them, dash, and do so all the like moves so quickly.
Is there any? Do you find anybody who plays it even without trying to attack anyone? They just rush through.
Just rush through the level, but. That's the wrong way to play it.
Yeah.
You want to get the high score. But maybe that's a challenge for yourself.
Will there be any sort of like pacifism trophies for seeing how far?
Well, we have like, if you do it so fast, you get also like timing score based on that.
You guys are really into trophies, by the way.
Yeah.
Which I really appreciate. A lot of our fans here at IGN and PlayStation, they're huge fans of trophies. They're very passionate about that. Is the platinum going to be something that's very difficult to get?
Yeah, it's really hard to get. So you really need to master all the elements of the game.
Is it something that the people working on this dev team are struggling to get themselves?
Yeah, so I think there's only like few devs who can get it.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. So the people making this game are having a tough time getting the platinum. Yeah. So I think a lot of people, when they buy a PlayStation game like this, they want to do everything they can in it. So that's really good news for guys like that and girls like that, because they're going to sit there for a very long time to try to get everything in this game. Now, the main character is very quick. There's something really fluid and awesome about the movement. Can you talk about sort of traversal in this game? Is there double jumps, triple jumps?
Yeah, there's a double jump, and the core thing is the dash that you can see there. So utilize the dash all the time. So when in doubt, dash. So it basically stuns the enemies, and you can then kill them easily, and you can like strike through the blue matter and use the strike like all the time. That's like core movement sets. And then we have like basic double jump, sliding, and then we have these zero-G areas where you can fly.
And we just freed that civilian from inside that pile of corruption, which is good to see.
And now he got a new weapon. It's a homing weapon.
A homing weapon? Oh, awesome.
Yeah.
And we had that sort of like, that weird, it looked like Ghostbusters, like the tickly laser wire thing.
Yeah, that's your METROID. You can, with that, you can build those platforms.
Was that vaguely inspired by Ghostbusters?
Yeah, well, yes.
Okay, cool,
yes,
awesome.
Of course. It's a beam.
That's
the
awesome.
Ghostbuster has the awesome beam.
Yep.
So here's the homing weapons, so the projectiles will home to the enemies.
And once again, we can see all of the just insane sort of lighting and graphics work that you guys are putting into the most. Just every single thing you do in this game has a fireworks show behind it.
Yeah, we wanted everything to be and look awesome. Yeah.
Now, we saw one of the bigger enemies in the game. Will there be sort of larger bosses?
Yeah, we actually have like 3 bosses, and they are like, we are going to see 1 boss in this gameplay also.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Awesome.
And there's also like this big dude with a shield, so you need to like get behind him and use like all what you got, all your firepower. Yeah.
It's really cool to see games like this still being made. That's actually one of the things I really appreciate about Housemarque, is that they take genres that I think many of us grew up with and they bring them into the current day in ways that I think we remember. Like when I think of a game like Life Force or Contra, which this feels like kind of a mix of both of those games. 2 of my favorite Konami games of all time. This feels like the way you would remember those games.
Yeah,
when you look at the box art, right?
Yeah, the games would look like this, and now the games do.
Now, is this something that you've been able to fly through in a couple hours?
No, we are still tuning the level content and the difficulty, so we are not sure how much like gameplay there is going to be, but multiple hours.
Because I know, like with a game like this, there's people who play it. Like I played classic games with like the 30 life code on because I'm bad, but then there are people who can like 1cc a game like this, you know. So are you sort of designing it in conjunction with the kind of people who could maybe play through this in one sitting and not die?
Yeah, well, in both. Yeah, we have like lots of checkpoints on the level, so we are not like overly hard, but we have like lots of hard sections. So you might need to like play through levels like a few times to get the best high score and get the best experience from the level.
Awesome. Well, dude, thank you so much for coming by.
Yeah, thanks.
Gary, it's been awesome having you. Tell me when people can play this game.
Like August 15th.
What? That soon?
Yeah, that's soon.
It's out in like 2 months?
Yeah, 2 months.
Oh my God, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
So good to hear. Congratulations on all the awesome work that Housemarque's been doing all the years.
Thanks.
And thank you for supporting PlayStation and making cool stuff.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Coming up, we'll have Middle of Earth at Shadow of War. Coming up right after the break, IGN Live at E3 continues in just a minute. So thanks for watching. Thanks, man. This game looks really cool.
Good to hear.
How have you been working on it?
IGN Live at E3 2017.
#1 media brand for video entertainment. From breaking news and brand new trailers to reviews, let's plays, and the latest tips and tricks, IGN brings you the videos you crave everywhere you watch. Whether you're on the IGN app, PlayStation, Xbox, YouTube, Facebook, Snapchat, or IGN.com, IGN's got you covered on everything you care about. IGN, the #1 source for video game fans worldwide.
The biggest entertainment event of the year is almost here, and we've got your all-access pass. IGN live from San Diego Comic-Con. World premiere trailers and breaking news as it happens. The biggest stars and the world's best cosplay. IGN live from Comic-Con. Coverage starts July 19.
2 friends, 1 controller. IGN's Link Together turns Zelda Breath of the Wild into a co-op experience where Link is controlled by 2 players via splitting the Joy-Cons. Hyrule becomes a much more dangerous place, and friendships teeter on the edge. Check out Link Together Thursdays at 3 p.m. Pacific.
Did you know that IGN has an app that gives you all the tools you love right in the palm of your hands? It's fast, and you can save videos and articles for later, check your personalized feed, or check out all the latest reviews. Download it now on the iOS or Android App Store.
Hey everybody, Destin Legary here for IGN Access at E3 2017. I'm here with my friend Joe Screbbles.
Hello.
Joe, you got to play Crackdown 3. I have one question.
Yes.
Did you get to blow up?
We did, just not as much as you'd expect. So Crackdown 3 is essentially 2 separate games in the same box. The multiplayer mode, which they're still working on, but we haven't seen for a long time. is this cloud-powered stuff. That's going to be a competitive multiplayer mode. They've also got the campaign, which can be played offline, which means they've turned off the cloud-powered stuff for that. So it's something more like Just Cause. They've got a kind of a base-level city, but with destructible elements.
Got it. So the big reveal himself, Terry Crews.
Forget dropping bombs. You're dropping buildings.
Was actually in this build of the game, correct?
He wasn't in this build of the game.
Ah, darn it.
He is a playable character. We've got them to tell us that much. They won't tell us how he's going to be a playable character. We don't know if he's going to be one of the heroes that you can choose, but he certainly will be playable at some point. And it's definitely his voice. It's maybe his likeness. They're being weirdly coy about what Terry Crews is doing in their game. But we do know he asked to be in it, which is quite funny.
So can you describe the demo that you played today? Like, what was your objective?
So it was a 10-minute challenge mode, so it was a condensed version of the main world. There was no narrative to it. If you're in this area of the city, do whatever you want, kind of kill gang members, blow up their stuff, and sort of just cause havoc. So you'd go on a rooftop and find a gang and you'd throw them all off the top. If that's the feeling they're going for, then I'm really behind it. It feels like an homage to the original game, just blown up to like a modern-sized game.
How does it look, though?
It looks really bad. Like, surprisingly bad. Okay. We were playing on a high-end PC, which should replicate what it looks like on One X. It's like quite an ugly game, which is a shame. Like, it's a huge shame. It's not quite there. The cell shading's really muddy. The animations are very jerky. The ragdoll physics are like all over the place. It's quite disappointing. Like, I think they're going more for wider performance improvements, so draw distance across the whole city is going to look amazing when you're on top of those skyscrapers. You'll be able to see a long way. Close up, it takes a bit of getting used to, and it's good that it feels so good to play, because otherwise they really shot themselves in the foot with that.
Got it. Well, thank you, Joe, so much.
Thank you.
Guys, if you want to see more on Crackdown 3 or E3 2017, you're already in the right place. IGN.
Come to me. Welcome back to IGN Live at E3. Shadow of Mordor was a breakout hit, and we all came to love the unique Nemesis system. Everything is bigger and better in the sequel, Shadow of War, and Brandon and Michael are here to tell us more. Thank you guys so much for coming.
Thanks for having us.
Let's talk Shadow of War. First thing I want to know, all of the orc voices are back, right? That is the most important part to me.
All and many, many, many more.
Many,
many
more.
Of the voices, the characters, we just...
Wet, angry frogmen running around going... It's my favorite noise.
Plenty of that.
If you're looking for more voices, I got some. Yeah. Thank you for coming on. Tell me what is new in Shadow of War?
It's a big question. We've got I'll break it down a little bit. In the Shadow of Mordor was our first game in this genre. It's our first open world, third-person action game. So of course we learned a huge amount. So we wanted to take the things that were good about the first game. The combat was strong. The Nemesis system and the orcs were great. This world and this universe and Mordor were great. So we just really doubled down on all of those things. Just expanded them massively, polished them. Within the combat, added an entire layer of progression and gear and player customization, new weapons, new skills. The Nemesis system, we expanded that massively to include not just these unique personal enemies, but also followers as well. So you've got whole new types of relationships, even friendships, betrayals, loyalty.
So now instead of just pissing people off, I can disappoint them too?
You can disappoint them and then dominate them, and then piss them off again, and then shame them and cast them out.
That sounds amazing.
Then murder them, and then have their best friend turning up wanting to avenge their murder, and then do it all again.
Their best friend, and then the cycle continues. Wow, that's awesome.
That was one of my favorite things about the first game. When Shadow of Mordor came out, that Nemesis system was such a huge system. And this time around, you've actually doubled down on the customization of orcs with these new tribes.
Yep.
So can you speak to a little bit about tribes and how they sort of react with the world and sort of react with the player as he goes through it?
Yeah, it's almost like in Shadow of Mordor we had one orc tribe. You know, we had this sort of
the unified Sauron army. Yeah.
Yes, yeah, and now we wanted to bring more of sort of society and culture and tribes and sort of the divisions of these orc cultures into Mordor. So the orcs belong to these different tribes, and then also the hierarchy of the orcs rises up high. Now we have overlords who are actually in control of fortresses and entire regions. So whichever tribe the overlord belongs to, that changes the nature of the fortress, but it also spreads the influence out throughout the entire open world and the living world. So the chatter that you'll hear the orcs speaking to, the different outposts that you'll encounter and how they're decorated, some of the side missions that you'll encounter. If the feral tribe's in charge, there's going to be more hunting missions and so on. So
speaking of outposts, that's what we're seeing here, right?
Oh, yes. Actually, let me just see. Sorry, I was looking away a bit there. So as well as the fortresses, you're also trying to spread your control and take over the open world through the regions. And one of the ways you can do that is we have these outposts that are spread throughout the world. And if you go into those outposts, you can draw out the orc commander who's in charge of this outpost. So in this case, if Evan goes around and he's actually manages to stealth kill some of these orcs. Oh, we can see, sorry to cut in, but this is a feral tribe.
Oh, with the dragon there.
And that drake bait is there. So that's going to create a combat opportunity to actually bring the dragons, drakes, I should say, come flying in here.
And those are neutral, right? Those aren't part of the orc army. Those are just flying around Mordor, ready to eat anything, including you, and you can see one right there as well.
Yeah, they're not tamed. So basically, between the time of our game, which takes place before Lord of the Rings, and Lord of the Rings, when the Nazgul are forced to use the Fell Beast, I think it's because they were never able to successfully control the drakes here. They're just too
I like that the dragons or the drakes are just like sort of a chaotic evil. They don't have their own robust political, intellectual system. They don't pick sides. They're just like, you burn one of us, we're killing you.
Yeah, we're just going to burn all of you. And of course, another thing that we've added is the fact of having a much more dynamic fire system. So the vegetation can catch fire, the barrels of the orc grog, if they break and the grog spreads out, that can ignite and go up in flames. And then the flame affects the combat as well.
You can show up to their house and burn their booze and kill their dogs.
Sorry. So here's a Graug there as well. That's another one of the big elements of wildlife we have in these different regions.
I was going to ask you about that. You had sort of like bees and these kind of nightmare wolf dog monster things in the last game, which I'm sure have a technical term for people who are really
they're called Caragor.
Yeah. Okay. I like my version, but we'll go with yours. It rolls off the tongue better for you guys. And what else can we see outside of that and what we've talked about so far today?
Oh. Sorry, I always get in trouble when I talk over these guys.
We got to hear him out. Yeah, there he goes.
We're about to find out.
The personalities are so fantastic.
I know.
Yeah, so he's the trophy hunter. So he's...
heard the alarm, not knowing what I would find. Seeing you, I can't believe
it's nice of him to wear some clothes.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if you can see the detail there, but that guy was the dwarf hater. So he had the little necklace there, and that was completely made of little ripped-off dwarf faces.
Yep.
He really hates dwarves.
Yeah, clearly.
And I know I'm jumping around a lot because there's often so much going on in this game. But
well, that's the beauty of it, right? Like all of this is generated totally randomly, procedurally. Right,
yes.
Like these are not characters that are placed by you by hand, and anybody that plays this particular outpost during their run isn't going to find the dwarf hater or the trophy hunter.
Yep.
See, I was asking you about bees, but like then we got this guy. The bees are just nothing compared to this thing. He's almost like a rancor.
Yeah.
I love him.
Yeah. That sort of scale.
Yeah.
And not only do we have these Graugs, these massive creatures, but then within each region, each sort of ecosystem and environment within Mordor, they have unique variations on those creatures as well.
Right.
So I think one we had in one of our trailers in Gorgoroth, so in that kind of the flowing lava in the volcano.
Mordor.
There's this sort of flame-breathing, lava-spouting
It seems like on top of the enemy designs, there's a lot more diversity in the environments. We're seeing a lot of, like the last game was really cool, but it focused around two major sections. And here we're seeing so much more. How did a lot of those come together?
just an amazing lot of hard work by every kind of team within Monolith. One of the big strengths we have is having our own engine. It's the Firebird engine.
Yeah.
So, at the beginning of the game, we're like, okay, we need the worlds to be bigger, and we need more of them, and they have to be more diverse, and they've got to have better vegetation, and we want them to be more detailed, and everything has to be able to set on fire, and there's massive fortresses in them with hundreds of guys, and we want to vary them all depending on what tribe it is.
Yeah.
And, instead of just going, you guys are complete lunatics, pissed off, they actually they did it.
They listened to you.
Amazing.
So if you're in the icy area of Saragosse, right, and you're approaching the fortress, my fortress might be owned by the Feral tribe, and your fortress might be owned by the Mystic tribe. So that land is going to look completely different between the two of us.
Yes.
So really, instead of having 7 or 8 or 9 or 10 areas, you've got those on top of customization with each tribe. So you just invariable number of different things to see.
Yeah, it's the same approach that we took with the orcs themselves, of having this additional layer of behavior and personality and visuals that are going to let everyone experience their own unique story.
I really appreciate that, because it was specifically at IGN, we would come in and we'd have conversations around the last game about who we were sort of beefing with. Like who in the game hated us the most, like what they hated specifically. I had a lot of guys that didn't like bees, so I specifically put bees at many people. Big fan of that.
And that's been blown out too, right? Like the weaknesses, the strengths, the fears, all of that stuff.
The personality, the identity. We've added rivalries, so there's particular orcs who will be rivals with each other. That'll come out when they meet. Blood brothers, who if will have these kind of connections to each other, and if one of them dies or is promoted, that will affect the other orcs. So there's all just these new types of relationships and stories, and then there's all the dialogue to support all of those stories and remember it. And then there's the fact that the orcs, they don't just get given their personality or their identity when they're created. They can actually evolve and learn as they go through the game. So the trophy hunter might have acquired that title because he'd successfully killed a high-ranking orc. Yeah, or a Graug Slayer.
Or a Drake, which
Evan
seems to be riding right now.
These are a really nice way to cruise around and just get a bit of a sense of the open world. See one of the outposts there as well.
It's so gorgeous.
Yeah, this is really cool. This is giving us a really good idea of what this whole universe here looks like, and it's stunning.
So I think that was one of the big questions of the first game, right? Or leading from the first game into the second game is you have the fortresses, you have the story missions.
Oh, come on!
What?
Well, now you know why you can't tame them.
Yeah, that's like if you did that to an Uber driver. That's horrible. He couldn't have just landed it and got off.
He could have. He could have just hopped off.
Where's the fun of that, right?
So we're coming up on a fortress right now. Do you want to explain sort of quickly what this is?
Absolutely. So we can see the fortresses. It's a feral stronghold. We can see the overlord is the guy at the top, and for each overlord and war chief defending the fortress, who's he? The biter. Oh, they've had to actually put a muzzle on this guy.
Because he was biting people?
Yeah, he was biting other orcs. He needed to be muzzled. Not a good trait in an overlord.
I like how you take these they're almost like mental patients.
Yeah.
And they're very rudimentary and very disgusting, but then they have this highly advanced intellectual system with each other.
Yeah, they're not stupid at all.
They just look that way.
Yeah, they're just exaggerated. They're just certain sort of human psychological traits kind of turned up to 11. So they're really driven by fear and hate. That's what they're all about.
I really like the way you put it when we spoke at your studio in Kirkland. You were saying that a lot of the influence for some of these orcs came from iconic supervillains, right? Like Batman has a ton of great supervillains, and they're not crazy mental patients. They're just flawed people that are exaggerated to the nth degree.
Yeah, it's just really pushing a lot of those ideas of fear and hate and competitiveness to this kind of extreme area that makes it into this makes them into these very over-the-top personalities, because it could be a very grim, dark game, but it's really important that it's fun and some of these guys are funny and that you can enjoy running around in here as well.
I think that's what I really appreciate about these games is they are based on a very sort of dark universe, and you have these dark characters, and even the title of the game just evokes something. But then you get in there, and it does get very fun and goofy, and you do have that moment like you kill that dragon, you drop him in the air. I mean, you're also working with, Troy Baker and stuff like that. Like,
Sure, yeah.
That's the kind of guy that he's got a sense of humor, you know?
Yeah, the humor and the differences in tone are just so important. So it can be really dark and serious and epic at one moment, and then it can be funny. Oh,
I love these moments.
Orm the Biter, I love it.
But I relish the opportunity to avenge it! This fortress houses the snarling beasts of Mordor! You will know them by their terrible cries, and your screams of terror will fuel their frenzy!
So these are kind of the introductions that happen every time you approach a fortress. Yeah. And I just real quickly, I love the fact that his voice is muzzled because he's wearing the muzzle. That's an awesome attention to detail.
And that's procedural as well, so that can adapt to different voices and things as well. So it's the whole.
He's very angry for a man with like beautiful beachfront property and like palm trees and all that, but he does live in like a sort of a dark, wet, terrifying world.
Yeah, and I think there's a level on which they enjoy the competition and the combat, and their whole kind of society is kind of founded on this very dog-eat-dog power hierarchy.
They don't realize that they're the bad guys, right? They're just, to them, the elves or the dwarves are the bad guys.
Yeah, or Talion.
Or Talion.
Definitely.
I mean, when you're killing drakes and your friends on the battlefield,
Oh, man. So let's talk about this enemy right here.
So in this case, this is actually an ally. So because we also have our own war leaders that we bring in as part of our army, and each one of those allows us to bring in different upgrades into the assaults and the siege as well. So in this case, the artillery or the drakes that are up above. Oh, there's two drakes. There's one's landed up on top of the tower.
So he called one in using one of his siege
and there was
powers.
a wild. Oh, this is just going crazy.
The humanity.
This is just pure chaos down here. I love it. There's like dudes on fire. There's drakes. Somebody was throwing those those fart bombs. What's the technical term for those?
Fart bomb.
Yeah.
You nailed it. So that's a piece of the new gear system, right? So that's a legendary piece. You find those for killing war chiefs or captains. What I really love now, though, is these fortress sieges. They have victory conditions. They have victory points. And I think Talion's standing in one right now. Do you want to go ahead and explain how these work?
Yeah, absolutely. So in order to capture the fortress, depending on how many war chiefs are defending it, you need to get into these victory points, clear the enemies out, bring your followers in. And Evan actually just revived one of our followers that was bleeding out there as well.
Nicely done, Evan.
And then planting the glaive, planting that spear to claim that point. And then you can actually do them in whatever order that you want. There's kind of the suggested order of A, B, and C, and sticking with your army.
Going towards the heart of it.
Yeah, if you want to leave them on taking the first victory point and you want to head off to the other one, you can do that. But then there's lots of ways you can manipulate or change that up as well. You can have spies who are infiltrated into the fortress. You can have spies who are bodyguards of the war chiefs that are coming out, so they'll try and stab them in the back and sabotage the different defenses.
Now, traversal in general has always been quick, especially in the last game, but have you guys added anything new to the sort of moveset this time around?
Yeah, we've same as with all of that sort of core controls. Yeah, so you can now shadow strike directly to the ground.
That rules.
The other one, I mean, it's not exactly like it's our invention in video games, but we have double jump now using the power of the Wraith, and that just opens up the mobility of the world so much. The environments have a lot more verticality and bigger buildings, and so we had a thing called Elven movement, so as you vault over things, you can get a burst of acceleration.
Speed.
And so you've got that on all the buildings and all the climbing now, so now you can get up incredibly quickly as you're
I did notice
climbing.
that as I played, that scaling buildings, you do step, and then he leaps like Superman 40 feet in the air and grabs onto a
so it's
handhold.
really fast. And as well, we have a resource called Focus, which you can use for your sort of slow-mo aerial bow fighting, which is also now a requirement of every single video game ever, apparently. But
it's got to be.
Exactly. But that focus, you can click the left stick to sprint and use your focus.
I love that we're having a conversation about focus.
Yeah,
wow. One of the most chaotic video game battles I've ever seen is happening. And this is like, this is not something that's going to happen in everybody's game.
No,
it might in varying different degrees.
No, we're never going to see the same thing again.
This sandbox that we just created right here is ours to share and destroy. I love it.
I just love, it's so excellent to see so many different moving pieces coming together.
Yeah.
Right? Like I think in one of the, he just got hit. That is not a good place to be. So he's down and gets a quick time event to get one more chance at
You get a last chance. If you actually look down to the bottom left of the mini-map, you can see the number of last chances that you have left. So it's really a resource that you can use in combat. So this has been a bit of a bloodbath here at this particular one. Some of the followers bleeding out. And there's another bit of... Oh,
man.
There's a Drake down there, too, now.
This just looks so damn fun.
Yeah.
That is just the word I can't stop thinking about watching this stuff.
Yeah, it's just that, like, anything can happen at any time.
Yeah.
So the Nemesis system can surprise you. The wildlife can surprise you. The combat ops and the fire, it's... Oh, no.
It's incredibly chaotic, but you feel like you have a good sense of control of it if you know what you're doing.
That is an enormous amount of work. That's everything. You know, the camera team, the AI team in terms of how things are spaced out, the combat team, I think even things like adding the glaive, so the spear to clear space, the UI team, of course, to get enough information that you need but not overwhelm you. It's just...
And then you've got a bunch of orcs and friends that are going to walk out of this battle either disappointed or sad or remembering.
They're all going to remember something from this. If they survive, if they die. Actually, I think one of the most fun things that can happen is if you do lose at this point. Yeah. It's not like you just replay the same thing again. Its time's going to move forward until you resurrect. Your followers that were there. Sorry.
So when look at this guy, he's got boils. Oh man, I don't even want to touch him.
Yeah, you don't want him on your army.
So when can people start to create their own personal stories in Shadow of War?
It's coming out on October 10th.
So soon?
Not too long, but we actually moved back to that date and we just got a little bit of extra time and it's just been fantastic because we're really just getting to polish and optimize and just clear it out.
I can't wait to get in there.
It's great.
Yeah, thank you so much for coming by. Your game looks incredibly fun,
Thanks
completely insane, and also very gross, which I love.
Thank you.
Coming up, we're headed to the show floor for a look at Assassin's Creed Origins and Days Gone. But first, IGN got an exclusive early look at Sea of Thieves, and here's what we thought. Yarr!
What's up, everybody? James Duggan with IGN Access here at the Xbox Showcase at E3 2017. A few of our editors got to go hands-on with Sea of Thieves, so we're going to track them down and see what they thought. So I'm here with Ryan McCaffrey, who got to go on a short adventure in Sea of Thieves. Can you describe to me the structure, kind of the gameplay loop?
I'm already smiling just at you mentioning the game. So last year, it was here, we played it. It was just ship combat. This time we got to go on an actual treasure hunting adventure. We had 2 maps with X's on them, there's where treasure is, and you have to go down to the map room in your ship.
And then we had to go to the map, figure out which of the islands match the kind of description, and then we all took on roles sailing.
It always feels like there's something else, like just over to the side here, that you can go and explore as well.
We got a pretty good understanding of the structure from some of the other editors, but I understand you have a little bit of special knowledge about what might come next. Can you clue us in?
Yeah, so I had a talk with a couple of guys from Rare after we saw it. A major takeaway from that conversation was that structure we saw, where we had the 3 maps, and we have this idea of we're going to choose one of these and head out and finish that gameplay loop. There's a wider loop to that, which is you have to go and find those maps. You have to go and find those quests from people around the world. That could extend to things like riddles that take you across the world, like 6 different islands, and you're finding new bits of treasure as you're going on. So it's super exciting to hear that part of the game is finding the game.
It's a cooperative effort just to sail where you need to go because you need to mind the winds and turn the sails where they need to be.
I like how they don't tell you like, oh, you have to do like, you weigh the anchor, you have to do this. Like, you have to figure it out for yourselves. And like, eventually I went to the crow's nest and I was like spotting rocks. I'm like, hey, we got to move left.
Somebody get to the sails.
The wind's coming the wrong way, so we're turning the angle of the sails.
Someone check the map.
The guy in the map room, we're like, get out of the map room, come up here and help.
There's one moment in particular that I want you to tell me about, and that's when you got launched out of a cannon and encountered...
Everyone was getting the cannons, and I'll be honest, I had no idea how they were doing it, so I'm like, well, I'll just jump off the ship. So I jumped off the ship and started swimming towards the island, and I looked around, didn't see anything, so I turned around, kept swimming, and then I turned around, there's one barreling right towards me. I pulled out the pistol and shot it, didn't really do anything, and then I pulled out the blunderbuss and killed it. I killed a shark, is what I'm trying to say, and it was everything I wanted it to be.
It's a beautiful game. The HUD is almost non-existent.
Which I love.
Yeah, unless you bring up a radial menu. Can you tell me about the presentation and what you liked or potentially didn't like there?
I love just about everything about the presentation. It has such a colorful art style that's kind of classically rare, I think.
It's a very distinct visual style, but everything like feels really nice. You can see on the map table. You can see the light pouring in from like the grids above.
The game is gorgeous. I'm standing on the front of the ship. I was noticing actually as I was just looking out across the ocean, like the waves and like sort of like the level of detail in them and the spray of the sea and all this. And it's actually a really beautiful game.
That minimalist HUD, like you were just talking about, I think adds a lot to this game. You have to do everything. You don't have waypoints. You don't have anything to really help you out. It's just you and your wits and your crew.
So how exactly are you going to play this game? Because from what we saw over there, it was very laser focused, getting the treasure, getting back, not really messing around with other ships.
Yeah.
Do you think when it's up to you and it's Captain Terrell, are you going to be a little bit more of a pirate?
Oh, totally. Yeah. I can't wait to, really dig into the PvP and the combat in this game because that's kind of my stick, right? Like I like that competitiveness.
I'm going to make sure that all of my friends have it, and I'm going to be the most tyrannical captain that I can be. I just love the idea of becoming that seek and destroy ship that no one wants on their server. Watching someone going to get their treasure. Actually, the developers gave me a great idea, which I hadn't heard before, which is follow a ship, watch them get off to go and get treasure, hide in their hold, wait for them to pick it up, come back, ambush them, steal it, get back on your ship.
Brilliant.
Amazing. I'd love to do that.
Now that's fun!
Hi, I'm John Warner, Game Director for Anthem.
Hey!
Freelancer.
Praxley,
Listen, there's trouble. Big trouble.
what did you do?
I made a mistake. I hired some people. They weren't freelancers. I know. They said they could handle it, and the price was right. I thought maybe...
Unbelievable.
You're right. It was stupid. I'm sorry. But they're still out there. Somewhere. If you could just bring them back. Anything you need.
I'll get to it tomorrow. All right.
In the world of Anthem, you and your friends are freelancers, the heroes who leave the safety of the walls of Fort Tarsus to explore the unknown and protect humanity. Let's join two players as they head out on an expedition.
Hey, Paul. You ready to go?
I'm just grabbing some supplies, just about ready.
What are you going to use today?
I decided to go with the Colossus.
I'm going to use my Ranger. Try out some new upgrades.
Every player will own an array of exosuits we call Javelins. These suits give players superhuman capabilities and are heavily customizable so they look and play how you want.
Bam. Looking good. Nice. You've got a mortar equipped.
Yeah, I got it on the weekend. You lead the way, I'll follow.
This is a vast open world you explore with your friends. Each Javelin exosuit has its own unique playstyle. The Ranger is balanced and all-purpose, while the Colossus is a tanking powerhouse.
All right. Let's see what's up here.
The world of Anthem is hostile, and threats can come from any direction. It's a dynamic world where the unexpected is around every corner.
I'm not sure we want to use all our supplies on this guy.
Yeah, he seems like a problem for another day.
We're getting some fire from up ahead.
I'll go low. You flank.
Hang in there. Almost there. Have you been in there yet?
I haven't. We should do that later with Kim.
Yeah, you could use the XP. Hello, treasure. I think we got some action up ahead.
Anyone, we're under attack. Anyone in the area, we're under attack.
I think that's part of Praxley's mission.
You can equip your Javelin exosuit with gear that brings devastating power to combat.
Oh, there are a lot of scars down there. Oh, the scars have a heavy.
Have time to use that mortar. Give me some covering fire. There's a bunch more coming in.
Okay, I'll get this round.
Thanks.
Oh, come on. Be something good. Oh, yes! Jer's Wrath.
Oh, nice.
Large-scale world events like Shaper Storms are dynamic and pull you off the beaten path with the promise of new stories to discover.
Oh, Shaper Storm incoming. Okay, actually, let's get some more people. Hold on a sec.
Hey guys, what's up?
Hey, what's happening?
I'm right behind you. Whoa. This storm is getting crazy. So what are we supposed to do? Fly into him?
All right, let's do this.
See you on the other side.
Our story is out there.
Did you know that IGN has an app that gives you all the tools you love right in the palm of your hands? It's fast, and you can save videos and articles for later, check your personalized feed, or check out all the latest reviews. Download it now on the iOS or Android App Store.
The biggest entertainment event of the year is almost here, and we got your All Access Pass. IGN live from San Diego Comic-Con. World premiere trailers and breaking news as it happens. The biggest stars and the world's best cosplay. IGN live from Comic-Con. Coverage starts July 19.
Two friends, one controller. IGN's Link Together turns Zelda Breath of the Wild into a co-op experience where Link is controlled by two players via splitting the Joy-Cons. Hyrule becomes a much more dangerous place, and friendships teeter on the edge. Check out Link Together Thursdays at 3 p.m. Pacific.
Did you know that IGN has an app that gives you all the tools you love right in the palm of your hands? It's fast, and you can save videos and articles for later, check your personalized feed, or check out all the latest reviews. Download it now on the iOS or Android App Store.
The biggest entertainment event of the year is almost here, and we got your All Access Pass. IGN live from San Diego Comic-Con. World premiere trailers and breaking news as it happens. The biggest stars and the world's best cosplay. IGN live from Comic-Con. Coverage starts July 19.
Two friends, one controller. IGN's Link Together turned Zelda Breath of the Wild into a
Welcome back to IGN Live at E3 2017. I'm Max Scoville, and I'm joined by Julien Leferrier from Ubisoft Montreal. And you've been hard at work on Assassin's Creed Origins?
Yes.
What is this game? I haven't heard a single thing or seen a single T-shirt or pre-order listing or anything about it.
So we started off 3.5 years ago, right after Black Flag, and we knew we wanted to do ancient Egypt, but not only Alexandria or Memphis, we wanted to do the whole country this time, right? So with all the biomes, with all the vegetations, the desert, and we have a new character to support that beautiful world. He's called Bayek. He's the last Magi, so basically he's the protector of the old traditions of Egypt, because in our time period, there's a strong Greek and Roman influence, and he's basically we're at the pivotal point of history.
Now, on the live show, you compared him to a sheriff. And this is, of course, about assassins. How does that work out? Because he sort of seems like a ranger more than, you know, going around.
He's actually the last Magi, so he's the protector of the old tradition. He's a local sheriff, but he's also an assassin, right?
Okay.
And through Bayek, what's cool in this game is that you'll get to witness the origin story of the Brotherhood.
This is fascinating. This is also really cool. Is this the earliest? I mean, obviously, it's the origin of the Brotherhood. This is the earliest Assassin's Creed game, period.
There's the fight between Assassins and Templars that have been going on for a long time, but this is actually the first time we're going so far back in history.
Okay. Now, you've been working on this for longer than any Assassin's Creed game of recent memory. Aside from the obviously gorgeous visuals we're looking at, what's been your chief focus in spending more time on it?
So when we started off more than 3 years ago, our goal with this game was to give as much freedom as we could to the players. So the first thing we did is that we revamped the narrative system. We have a much more open narrative system backed by quests. We also have a new progression system with RPG elements to really customize your assassin the way you like to play the game. So if you're more of a stealth-oriented player or a combat-oriented player, you can level up and pick abilities to suit your playstyle. And on top of that, we have a new fight system. So because of it, we had some time to work on this game. We reworked the whole fight system. It's now a hitbox-based system. So the weapon you choose, its size, its weight, its length, the way you position yourself compared to enemies, that will affect your combat experience. So we're really happy with this foundation work that we did. I think it's a fresh new take on the franchise.
How would you say the size of the area compares to previous Assassin's Creed games?
It is a very, very big map. It's a whole country. It's all seamless transition. So if you pick up a camel at one point, it's going to take you a very long time to cross this map. And there's it's very varied landscape. So it's a very big map. You know, I don't want to get into numbers, but I think it's players will have hours and hours of fun in this world.
Yeah, so people think Egypt, they think, you know, desert and pyramids, but obviously it's the Nile River Delta, so there's tons of, you know, lush vegetation. You've got boats in here, right?
We have boats. Obviously, in Egypt, there's the big river, the Nile, but there's also lakes. the Mediterranean Sea that is just on the verge of the map. So boats were a real opportunity for us to have other means of transportation, and we're really happy about it. I think the water that we have built from by Ubisoft Singapore is great, and what's cool about it is that you can explore every body of water from underwater. You can dive, there's some treasures, there's some loot, so I think it's a pretty cool experience.
Now we've got the, is this a falcon?
It's Senu. She's a Bonelli eagle.
Oh, okay.
And she's your pet eagle, basically. So the origin story of the eagle vision going on. And basically, Senu will help you locate enemies and locate your targets. And what's cool about having the eagle in the game is because of this big world that we crafted that is so beautiful, it gives a fresh new perspective, you know, this top-down view. It's really a different way of exploring this world, and we're really happy about having Senu in the game.
Now, if you're able to use the eagle to sort of scout the area and find new objectives, are we still climbing to the tops of towers and doing the whole thing and diving off?
There's still the climbing on top of towers, what we call the reach high points. They're such a staple of the franchise, but this time around, every tower that you climb will improve your synchronization abilities with Senu. So she'll be better at locating the targets for you.
Now, this boat area here, is this just a bunch of bad guys hanging out, or is this sort of an outpost type scenario?
This is actually a floating military camp, if you want. So it's a boat run by the military, and it's heavily protected. And there's many ways to approach this boat. You know, you could just charge in, decide to fight, unleash your Kopesh, and just start the fight with the guards. You could go for a more stealthy approach, you know, like trying to climb around, using the mast to get a vantage point and take your bow and do some headshots to do some heavy damage on the guard. So it's really like a 360 approach. You can tackle this challenge the way you want, and there's many other opportunities like that in the game.
Okay. Now you've got a lot of kind of new tricks. You've got your bird going around and causing trouble. In the demo you showed during the conference, there was like a remote controlled arrow. How does that work?
Archery plays a big part in this game. Like, we have a seamless transition from range combat to melee combat, so you can use your bow from close range. We have different types of bows, and one of those bows is called a Predator bow. So it's a bow that is really good at long range. It's close to a sniper rifle if you want, and there's one ability that you can unlock that will get you to control your arrow once it's fired.
Is that a hippopotamus?
That's a hippo. Very dangerous beast, if you want to believe it. Like very thick skin, authentic to this region of the world, and we wanted to have them in the game. It's wildlife plays a big part in this game because they're such a staple of ancient Egypt. You know, like people were doing their laundry and they were worrying about getting attacked by crocodiles. That's authentic, so we wanted to have that in the game.
Yeah, I usually just worry about emptying the lint trap. Now, how many animals overall do you have? Can you say that?
We have a bunch. We have a big variety of animals. I don't want to say the exact number yet, but you know, we have flamencos, we have hippos, we have crocodiles, we have lions. So many, such a variety of wildlife, and all of that like interacts very well together with the humans also that we have. So our goal was really to bring Egypt alive as much as we could.
Now, in addition to the hippopotamuses attacking you while you're doing your laundry or what have you, I imagine they also serve a purpose, and you can get resources for them. Is there crafting?
Exactly. So if you hunt the animals, you'll get resources for crafting. For example, to upgrade your hidden blade. So if you're more of a stealth type of player, you can upgrade your hidden blade to do maximum damage from enemies that don't expect you.
Okay, we saw a lot of kind of vaguely supernatural elements in the trailer. There's sort of an Anubis head at one point. Could you talk a bit about the villains or the antagonists in this game?
What's great about ancient Egypt is that it's full of mysteries, mysticism, and spirituality, and that's a theme that we wanted to play very strongly, you know, because the whole traditions, the gods with the animal heads, the pharaohs, that sort of stuff. So we definitely include that in the game. And we're at a time period where the Romans and the Greeks are slowly taking over Egypt and replacing those old traditions. So obviously, perfect bed for Templars and that sort of New World Order feeling going on.
That makes a lot of sense. Now, it almost seems like with all the mysticism and stuff, you're almost leaning into full-fledged fantasy slightly. You've got predator arrows, and I mean, obviously, there's always been eagle vision and things like that. There was a shot in the one of the trailers of just a really big snake, like a Chamber of Secrets basilisk kind of snake. Is that?
We're still, I mean, we're still Assassin's Creed, right? So we're still very much grounded in history, but having this great ancient civilization with secret rituals and that sort of stuff helped us kind of blur the line a little bit and have some like dream sequences or that sort of spirituality moments, if you will.
All right. Now this is cool. You said you're focusing on player freedom, and obviously when you think open world games, you do think letting players just go out and do stuff. In the past, Assassin's Creed has it's had some sort of tour guide moments where it's like, all right, rein it in. You maybe get desynchronized. Are we still in the Animus? And will we still get told we're doing stuff that our ancestors may or may not have done?
We are, as of today at E3, we're focusing on the story of Bayek, and news on that will come later on.
Great. Well, Julian, thank you so much for coming by and chatting.
Thank you so
Assassin's
much.
Creed Origins. Do you have a release date for this?
Yes, October 27th on Xbox One, Xbox One X, PS4, PS4 Pro, and PC.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much.
Thank you
Clearly,
very much.
it's been worth the wait. We've got lots more E3 coming up, so don't go anywhere. IGN will be right back.
Did you know that IGN has an app that gives you all the tools you love right in the palm of your hands? It's fast, and you can save videos and articles for later, check your personalized feed, or check out all the latest reviews. Download it now on the iOS or Android App Store.
The biggest entertainment event of the year is almost here, and we got your All Access Pass. IGN live from San Diego Comic-Con. World premiere trailers and breaking news as it happens. The biggest stars and the world's best cosplay. IGN live from Comic-Con. Coverage starts July 19.
2 friends, 1 controller. IGN's Link Together turns Zelda Breath of the Wild into a co-op experience where Link is controlled by 2 players via splitting the Joy-Cons. Hyrule becomes a much more dangerous place, and friendships teeter on the edge. Check out Link Together Thursdays at 3 p.m. Pacific.
We are proud to welcome Xbox One X. November 7th, Xbox One X launches worldwide.
All of your Xbox One accessories and games will work with Xbox One X.
We can't wait to bring PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds exclusively to Xbox One later this year.
We're one step closer to payday.
agency.
I'll go low. You flank.
Yes! Jerry's wrap.
All right, let's do this.
See you on the other side.
The conference of Microsoft was overwhelming games.
Overall, I had a really good feeling about the new content, so I'm looking forward to all of it.
The digital and the real worlds are merging in an unprecedented way.
I think the ability to have a new console, not just like the Xbox One S, but the Scorpio that can play an entire generation of games is impressive.
The Scorpio is powerful. Thought they showed off some impressive new hardware. A little bummed about the price.
I was a little bit disappointed with the price. Maybe like $50 less I was looking for.
Listen, there's trouble. Big trouble.
My biggest disappointment, I was hoping for a Halo 6.
There was a big disappointment when they showed some like little orange animal running around with a blue cape. I thought for sure Conquer was coming back, and then it was just a kid's 3D platform game. That was a huge disappointment and a big troll move from Microsoft.
See you on the other side.
Definitely loved the last one, Anthem. I thought it was both visually impressive, but also had some pretty cool gameplay.
The game looked amazing. It basically reminded me of something that I would just get rid of Destiny for. The art design of it looks really cool, so I'm looking forward to that.
My favorite moment was for sure when they showed Cuphead. I've been waiting for so long for a date or anything on that game, but now we know when it's coming and it looks amazing.
We wanted to build a premium console, the most powerful console ever made. We looked at 4K, true 4K, a console that could really run games at 4K. That was our design point. That was our premium experience for the premium gamer. Xbox One S is a great console for people who are looking for their first console. So we really started with a design spec and wanted to make sure that we hit something that truly defined what I think a 4K console feels like, and I feel really great about what we have in the box. I don't think Xbox One X has a competitor in terms of power and performance in the console space, but I wanted people to understand, we showed 42 games on stage, 22 with console exclusivity today, that if you're jumping in at the S console and buying games, those games are going to stay with you if and when you decide you want to move to the premium experience of Xbox One X. We saw games that are going to run at 60 frames per second, because I know for certain people that's really important. We opened the show with Forza, which will be a great 4K 60 games. There's other games in there that'll be running at 60. We showed games like Ori, which are very stylized with a depth. I thought that was just beautiful what they were able to put on screen. And then you follow that up with Anthem. I mean, a partner of ours for a long time in EA. Patrick was in our video last year when we announced Project Scorpio. And what we showed in Crackdown was not some kind of CG trailer. This thing looks good enough that I think people are going to question whether that's really people playing the game. You know, they had their timing with the song and stuff that they wanted to go do. I kind of wanted people to know what it feels like to play a Crackdown game, because there's some people that don't remember that. And I thought it looked like a current generation Crackdown. Getting Terry Crews in, I thought was awesome.
In fact, it's only just begun.
I'm so excited to have that as a launch game. And I think that's what we're going to see, from frame rate, resolution. You're going to see people take the most powerful console that's ever been created in really interesting places. I mean, where we're really seeing developer interest is on the Windows platform. And we're just finding that family room experience as we've been trying it out, and that it's better in a desk environment, it's better and closer to my PC environment. And I really want to respond to what the gamers are asking us to do. And where I'm seeing the developer interest and usually gamer interest follow is on Windows. That's our focus right now. As a company, we're big believers in mixed reality. If and when it comes to the family room environment, I want to make sure it's right. I want to recognize that some people have been with us along the way, and I think that's important.
What's up, guys? It's Terry Schwartz here with IGN Access. We're outside Bethesda Land, an entire amusement park showcase dedicated to Bethesda's biggest franchises. So let's take a look inside. Now we are right in the heart of Bethesda Land, and as you can see, it is packed. I am surrounded by little booths representing all of Bethesda's biggest franchises. There's nothing to get you in the spirit of playing Morrowind like literally sitting on a toadstool. They brought Doom to life, which is a little terrifying. Wait, what? There's something. We decided to take a break over at the Dishonored area, hang out with Corvo and Emily, and, you know, kick back a few pints. I want a Vault Boy. Can you make me a Vault Boy? That was so cool. So I hope you enjoyed your time at Bethesda Land, and for all things E3, make sure to keep it here at IGN.
Welcome back to IGN Live at E3 2017. I'm Max Scoville, and I'm joined by John Gavin and Jeff Ross from Ben's Studio. And you guys have been showing off Days Gone, which is it's an open-world survival horror action adventure post-apocalyptic zombie game.
That pretty much sums it up.
Okay.
All those things, except they're called freakers.
Freakers, right?
Yes.
I knew you were gonna do that. Sean Layton didn't call them that. He called them zombies.
We had to talk with him.
Okay.
About
So you guys showed this off last year, and it was probably the most video game enemies I've ever seen on screen at once. Maybe not counting like Dynasty Warriors, but like it's stunning and staggering how many freakers you've got running around. And it was terrifying, but it almost seemed like that was sort of the one-trick pony side of things. And this year, you're showing us, here's the open world, here's the motorcycle combat, here's the stealth, here's the humans. Please tell us a little bit about what's going on with this game.
Well, you know, the big thing we wanted to show off this year was our dynamic open world systems. So last year we focused on the Horde, which is hundreds and hundreds of enemies on screen at once, and you saw what happened. He was running for his life.
It's terrifying.
And this year there's a Horde in this year's stage demo as well, because you could see there's a moment where Deacon gets past this small marauder camp, and he's looking down, and a gunshot goes off, and you see the Horde kind of, you know, to go chasing off to that sound. And that's still a huge part of our game, but we really wanted to show off the swarms, which are like a Horde, but they're smaller. There's more of them. They're more common. And you can use them as a tool and a weapon using our enemy faction system.
Yeah, so the point of this demo was we really wanted to show off kind of how the open world systems all come together, and they are obstacles for the player to overcome, but they're also tools that the player can use to overcome other obstacles. So weaponizing the Horde from last year, you know, we just want to show that this is a thing that can be wielded, that the player can use it as one of many different tools in his toolbox for taking on this complex, super dangerous, dynamic world.
I love that. That's a trope in zombie fiction. We've been seeing that for ages of like, oh, the bad guys are here. Well, let's let the zombies. The enemy of the enemy is your friend. Yeah. Now, can we talk about the world a little bit? Like, I was like, oh man, we got some badass motorcycle stuff, and then Deacon just gets clocked in the chest by a booby trap.
Yeah, so you saw that on the stage demo last night, but if you're watching the B-roll we have here, it's a completely different way to play the same mission. So in this time, we've changed up the time of day, we've changed up the weather, you see it's snowing, and Deacon, because he wasn't being chased by the runners, which are infected wolves, he saw the ambush before he hit it, and that allowed him to sort of, you know, reconnoiter, go around behind them, and take them out from behind. So he doesn't hit the clothesline in this version of the demo, just because he was paying attention.
Yeah, what we really want to do with this is show off that this world is dangerous. You cannot take anything for granted. You can drive down this road one day, it'll be totally fine, but another day you drive down assuming it's all fine, and boom, You're knocked off your bike, and then you have a few seconds where you've got to fight for your life and try to survive it. And we're really just trying to show how this world is so dangerous. It's lying in wait for the player. And where people thought that the Horde was our biggest enemy, in many ways, humans are, because they're more cunning and they're more lethal and they're more sadistic. And they're going to clothesline a man off his bike and try and steal his shit. So it's really important for us to show that, because we feel that that's the essence of Days Gone's dangerous world. But also with the alternate path that we're showing in the theater, we really want to show that tactical, smart, strategic, forward-thinking players can be careful, that they can become the aggressor. They can turn the tables on these guys if they're willing to use their entire tool set and take the time to not just drive into traps, use their binoculars, reconnoiter the place, and get the edge on these guys, turn the tables. It's really exciting and fun to come up on these guys who are lying in wait, about to ambush you, and you ambush them. It's a thrill.
Okay, well, I got to ask, this is one thing that's been bugging me. Deacon is he's like a bounty hunter mercenary type, but he's in this entirely unforgiving world. It seems like sort of a waste of money to be like, hey, man, there's this guy I really don't like. Could you take him out for me? Even though he might be getting eaten by freakers already. What's the story with the civilization that exists here? Because we've seen.
So we're not talking a lot about the story in the background yet, but you can see in the demo. So the demo we showed last year, we introduced Deacon in the trailer, and he suffered some sort of a loss, and he's sort of the walking wounded, like everybody in this world is. And then in this year's demo, we introduced the encampments. So you see Copeland, who's the leader of one of the encampments, and this is where law-abiding survivors sort of gather together for protection. And the idea is that once you leave those encampments, the world comes for you. It doesn't matter whether you're on a job trying to find a bounty, like Jeff was saying a moment ago. You could actually run into an ambush and get ambushed and get sidetracked completely just because people are there trying to kill you. But a guy like Copeland, who runs this encampment, he's trying to keep his people alive, and he just feels a sort of sense of responsibility to them. And as a bounty hunter and a mercenary, Deacon sort of earns camp credits by doing jobs for these different encampments.
Okay, and he's trying to take care of his motorcycle and
just
eat,
trying to
right?
survive.
Yeah, survive. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now we saw we saw some terrifying zombie bear, freaker bear, and we've also got the runners. What are they called? The
runners.
Runners.
Yeah,
Yeah.
infected wolves.
How much of a range of wildlife are we going to see that is infected?
Well, last year we introduced the Horde, the Swarmers, and the Newts and regular wolves. And this year we're showing the Rager bear. We call it a Rager, and we showed in the alternate demo you're going to be able to see crows, and all of these have a different impact on the gameplay.
Oh wow! So yeah, it's not just mammals, or it's also birds and stuff too.
Yeah.
Okay, that really screws things up. That's terrifying. Now we've got weather conditions here. Do they play an effect? Like will rainfall muffle footsteps, or
absolutely? Rain will muffle footsteps. It'll change the way that your bike handles. It'll change the way that the mud handles differently. It has this. The entire world responds accordingly to the way that we expect it would, and it's super relatable in that way. But as far as it applies to enemy senses, you can use it as one of the tactics to come in. There's always trade-offs. There's going to be different creatures around in certain conditions, but those conditions can also be beneficial to the player in other ways, depending on the tool set that he has and the tactics that he wants to employ.
All right.
Yeah, and it also impacts the freakers, because again, we're not talking a lot about the virus and how it affects their metabolism, but when it gets night out, they're stronger. When it gets cold out, they become stronger.
Really?
So, yeah,
Okay.
so that's one of the things you really have to be conscious of when you're playing the game.
Okay. Now, are you guys like? There's always kind of different types of like zombie logic. There's whether it's
Freaker logic.
Freaker logic. Well, I mean, in the greater scheme of of undead fiction.
Yeah.
As it were. Are you guys kind of building this from the ground up, or are you sort of following existing rule sets? I know some people they'll get like weirdly nitpicky. They're like, how would the virus spread to birds or whatever?
Well, we have a complete backstory that explains all of that, and yeah, we're very picky about our mythology, so we've created it from the ground up. We didn't really concern ourselves with what happens in other fiction.
Okay, and you've got crafting mechanics in here too.
Yes, we do. So it's an action survival game.
Right.
It's about living off the land, kind of finding resources that you need out there, and taking them back, selling them at the encampment so you can get extra supplies and kind of upgrading that way. But really, as the player evolves and as Deacon evolves and adapts, he can do more with less that he finds in the field, and that's part of the crafting system. It's a real kind of do-it-yourself MacGyver sensibility.
All right.
Whatever works.
Right.
And we've seen that on display a few times with last year's demo with the airbag bombs, with the dynamite that he rigs up on this, and the Molotov that he's putting together. It's just it's a few many things that he can put together, recipes that he can learn to employ is one of another set of tools in his toolbox.
Okay. So when you say survival, there's a bunch of different associations people have with it, and there's kind of the traditional like resources are scarce, and then there's the other kind of more brutally unforgiving where like if you don't really take care of your stuff, you're entirely screwed. Will Deacon's health repair itself, or does he have to manage like healing assets?
It's an action game first and foremost. So
Okay.
where it has elements narratively and in the crafting system, it's not a super hardcore.
But there's certainly some aspects. So, for example, the motorcycle can take damage. Motorcycle has to be fueled.
Yep.
So, so there are elements where we want the player to be conscious of the fact that it's a post-apocalyptic world. Resources are scarce. You can craft medical supplies. You do need these things.
And what people will see in the B-roll, the alternate demo, is when he takes the bike off-road and he's driving recklessly, it does take damage. You've got the fuel meter. He's always got to know where his next fill-up's going to come from, because he can run out of gas and be stuck out in the middle of this world without a plan. So it's something where it still airs towards action, but the player has to be mindful of like the cool core resources that he needs to survive. Nothing's free.
So if you wind up stranded without your bike, are you just entirely screwed, or is there like a fast travel retreat type of option?
We'll talk more about that probably
Okay.
in the future, but it's a pretty cool system. But Deacon's got one bike,
Yes.
and it's his bike, and he's got to take care of it, and he's got to know where it is and keep tabs on it, and other people want that bike too.
All
so
right.
it leads to some pretty cool danger.
Your beam burst there, your lightning armor, they add to the experience, but as to the balance they were talking about
Bro, you know, to be
earlier,
a good
they definitely
experience,
don't
you
make
putting
it
the
easier.
goddamn
You
3DS
have the
down
ion
and going
gauge,
away,
you
that'd be a
can't
good
spam these
experience.
abilities at all. I mean, I think you're already out of them, so.
What's up, bro? Love your channel. Hey, thank you so much, bro. I appreciate that, Anthony. But with 4 subscribers away, guys. Oh, she died again. Yes, stop now.
Yeah,
He's pretty
I'm
awful.
hopeful that this third time I can get it.
You have the power of Samus at your disposal.
I have all her abilities.
No.
Alright, let's try this game.
You guys are so ruthless in the chat. Oh, I'm going to the toilet. Wake me up when I literally have a reason to live anymore.
That was lucky.
He's gonna feel that tomorrow.
Hope so. So mean.
That was your favorite.
Oh god, I absolutely hate this ability.
He's more afraid of you than you are of him.
Is
Just remember
that, is that really
That's
the case?
truth.
I don't think he cares much about me. Oof.
Oh boy. Just when you think you have a handle on it, he switches it up.
Oh, yeah, I know. I always need to be on guard with him because it's never the same pattern or consistent at all.
You're getting really close though. I think you can do this.
Oh, I don't know. I got one bar left. Oh. No. No.
Oh,
I'm
so close.
Alright, I can do it. I can do this. I swear.
We believe in you.
No, she's so tired. I went to the toilet and then I came back. She died and she's trying it again.
Hate over and
Oh my lord!
That's all I get.
No pressure having creators.
How long have they been playing? They've been playing for like an hour. Thank you to everybody that's stuck in the chat, though. Appreciate it. I appreciate it. 3 subscribers away, guys, from 35,750. Let's see if we can make that positive. 3 people in the chat that haven't hit that subscription button. And yes, I know it's kind of irritating. We've seen this so many times. But hey, we gotta live. We gotta live, people.
Oh, how dynamic the beam burst looks.
It feels so good.
It feels so good. It'd feel better if you stopped playing.
And I ran out of Aeon energy. Ah, that was my best one.
Oh no. Gotta do it the old-fashioned way now.
If it literally does not, if she still keeps going on, literally,
Missiles it is.
This is like literally. Can I just subscribe? Thank you so much.
Oh, that was close.
Lindsay, what's poppin'? Welcome to the live stream. If they literally keep doing this, just kill it.
Stay down. Yes.
Thank you. Hey, she finally did it. Can we get some hype in the chat? She finally killed the thing. Oh my lord.
That is all we have to show for
Yes, that's all she has to show us. Yes. Hyped. Yes. Thank you. Put the goddamn 3DS down. Take your ass out of there and go sit down somewhere else. Go somewhere else.
Is active in this game.
You guys are going crazy in the chat. Just go away, please.
The Zero Suit Samus and the regular Samus from the Super Smash Brothers line.
Go away, please. I don't think anyone cares right now. Yes, you guys are going crazy.
Right here. I'm gonna ask you to hold. Actually, no. I'm gonna.
Yo, you guys are crazy.
Because he's so awesome. So, you get the Metroid, and this is the best part.
I need to bleach my eyes.
He's actually feels like a Metroid.
So cool.
Yo, you guys are
And he's,
crazy.
like, breaking out of this little case and everything.
Yep.
And then you also have Samus again here, but she's in her classic Metroid 2 pose, and that is just so cool. Like the
They're
amount
still
of
going on.
detail
She's
that's
still going
around
on.
her, it's just.
I mean, the
it's
amiibos look
so
pretty cool.
amazing. She feels so cool.
And
So
then
yeah.
is it gonna be
Oh, yo, what if she does an encore and she still keeps playing?
Oh yeah, definitely my collection. I'm a super big fan of Metroid. So we can't unfortunately tell you what the functionality is in this segment, but we will announce it at a later time.
Bro, I don't
wanted
care.
to show you these because they're so cool.
Yes.
Yes, and
That's
before we
it.
go,
Thank you.
If Sakamoto-san and Jose have any final thoughts they'd like to tell our studio audience.
Final thoughts. He's like, bro, let me crack up on a cold one with the boys.
Thank Sakamoto-san.
He just pulls the gun out and kills. He's like, bro, I'm out of here.
Thank you so much. Yeah. 私たちもマーキュリー・スティームさんというすごくいいパート
Bro,
ナ
I
ー
feel like I'm watching an anime right now.
2D メトロイドの可能性をすごく広げることができて非常にハッピーです。
Yeah, I think we are very happy, of course, to have been lucky enough to team up with Mercury's team on this project, and we really feel that the world, the potential for the 2D Metroid.
Bro, nobody cares. Stop talking. Literally stop talking right now.
One other thing I'd like to talk about.
Oh!
What is it?
Bro, don't talk about anything else.
実は今回のサムスリターンズではスペシャルエディションですね。特典付きのものも発売されます。
Yeah, so we're going to launch and put on the market a special edition for Metroid Samus Returns.
I don't think anybody cares.
Oh, that's so pretty. So it also has on the cover the original pose from the Metroid 2 Return of Samus. So that's so cool.
Okay, could it be finally time now?
Soundtrack there and reversible covers. So
Yeah,
that's
so
pretty neat.
the soundtrack is actually called Samus Archives. It's a music CD and it has about, I think, 25 tracks. Yeah, and it's just a
Reed
collection
just
of
subscribed.
all
Thank you so
the
much. We hit
games that have come
35,760,
out
guys. We're
of
40
so far
subscribers
from
away
Metroid featuring
from
Purple
35,800, which is insane. Could we hit? Yo, could we potentially hit 36K today? That'd be insane.
It's a really cool treat.
Yes, thank you so much for telling us
Yes,
about
thank you
that.
so much. Now go.
Thank you, Jose.
I swear to God, if they have like another, the way they play music again for so long.
All right, so
Okay, good.
Today we're gonna have a trailer.
Oh, that's right. So one more treat for you all. So those of you that have a Nintendo 3DS at home,
We all have a
you'll be
Nintendo
able to see the
3DS.
trailer that aired earlier today, and actually, because you have a Nintendo 3DS, if you're able to put on the 3D functionality, you'll be able to see that 3D depth and display,
Bro.
and you'll just be able to see how isolated and cool and all that depth that's in Metroid. So
She's kinda cute,
really
though, I'm not gonna
excited
lie.
to have that available for you today, and you could download it for free on the Nintendo eShop.
Yes, and thank you so much for tuning in. We're so happy to be able to show you
Yes.
Metroid Samus.
I'm
Returns.
sure you was.
Thank you again, Sakamoto-san and Jose, for joining us and speaking with us.
Sakamoto-san.
And please stay tuned. Next up, we have Mario plus Rabbids Kingdom Battle, so don't go anywhere.
Oh! Guys, they said Mario is next. And that's gonna be like a god 7 years. God 7 years gameplay. So it is up to you. We can end the stream right now if you guys would like to. And we might just miss the Pokemon Ultra Sun and Moon news. It's totally up to you guys. I mean, I don't mind staying live for another hour or so. But it's completely up to you. Keep up the torture. We're all in this together. We literally are. We're all going through this right now. We've been streaming for almost 3 hours. That's insane. It's completely up to you guys. I'll do whatever, but that's crazy. Should we do some shiny hunting? I won't end the stream, but Hemrick just subscribed. Thank you so much. Should we do some shiny hunting? So what we could do is while they're doing the Mario thing, we could do some shiny hunting. And then when they finish Mario, we could switch back over if you guys would like that. Because literally, they're going to just be showing the Mario and the Rabbids game. That's it. I see a lot of yeses in the chat and... Okay, shall we do it? Okay, let's do it. Let's do it. Let's do some shiny hunting. I'm not going to end it. I'm not going to end it. I don't know why a lot of people keep saying this. Okay, we will do some shiny hunting, but I'll keep the stream up at the side. Okay? So let's do this. I've completely forgot what was on before. One 635. 1635. Okay, well, we'll switch over and do some shiny hunting. We'll keep it live on the side for you guys. Here we go. Yeah. Okay, let's mute this. Okay. So let's just put this down. We'll keep it up on the side for you guys. We'll do some shiny hunting while we wait, okay? Oh, bro, I don't understand why we have two. There we go. Hey, should we do some shiny hunting? Okay, guys, so bear with me while I just set everything back up, but we will be live with some shiny hunting just while we wait. Hey, Alberto just subscribed. Thank you so much, bro. Okay. So. We'll keep it up on the side. I'll keep it up on the side so I know what exactly is going off. Okay? Okay. Alberto just subscribed. Thank you so much, bro. I appreciate it. Anthony just subscribed. Thank you so much, bro. So we're gonna be live with some shiny hunting. They're just showing now the gameplay of it. I will try and put it on for you guys as well, just in case you do want to watch. There won't be no audio or anything like that. But we can do this. So this is currently what is going on. So I will leave it there for you guys. I won't be able to see who's subscribed, so so it won't show up on the thing. But I'll leave it like that so you guys can watch it as well, okay? How does that sound? Does that sound alright? I mean, I can only do so much, guys. I can only do so much. Alright, let's get it. Let's get this shiny. Metagross Gamer just subscribed, guys. We are 30 subscribers away from 35,800, which is insane. Thank you guys so much for your support tonight. It's been absolutely insane live stream. So, is that alright? So, literally, we have the screen at the bottom, which is right here. Is that alright for you guys? Is that alright? And then we have our screens on. So, you can watch both. I can't be no more fairer. Make the sub thing on the top right-hand corner. Make it smaller. Wait, what? Move the Odyssey over the chat box, and then the chat won't be on there. I mean, I can move this up here, but I think then it's too small, isn't it? I don't know. Does that look alright? Is that alright for you? Yeah, it's dope. Alright, sweetness. Sweet! At least now we have the best of everything right now going on. We have the best of everything going on right now. I know it's kind of small, but I can't have it anywhere else, can I? Oh, the only other option I can do is if we move this. So when people subscribe, I'll put it in the top over there, and then have the gameplay up here for you. Okay, so is that all right? Okay, cool. So when people subscribe now, we should still be able to see it. So no Pokemon. We don't know yet. They're just playing some Mario Odyssey right now, so we'll see. We shall see, my friend. It's where I can read the chat, my dude. I have to have it up so I can read in the chat. But does that look perfect for everyone right now? Your channel is lit. Hey, we literally got so many things going on right now. We just need the shiny burb to just appear. It's Chris. I was eating. What did I miss? The Metroid thing was a thing, and then that's it. But like I said, guys, if we don't get anything shown by 8 o'clock my time, so that's in another hour, then we probably will be ending off the stream there, guys. Okay? So we'll go for another hour. If they don't show anything, then that's it. Do you think there will be a demo for Ultrasun and Moon? I think they should be, yeah. I wouldn't see why not. I couldn't see why not. Like, there wouldn't be one. Can you put on the Mario remix? I guess so, yeah. It's just super loud. That's the only problem. There we go. The Mario Rabbids game looks pretty cool though. What's poppin', Deciduous? What's poppin'? Yeah. Can we put the team skill on? Possibly soon, my dude. I kinda wanna get this shiny Stuffle though. It's taking so long. And as well, guys, we are 30 subscribers away. 30 subscribers away from 800, sorry. If you guys haven't hit that thumbs up button and that subscription button, and you are enjoying yourselves, be sure to go ahead and do so. Can I link the remix? I just literally typed in Mario remix, and this is the first thing that came up. Hey, Brian just subscribed. Thank you so much, bro. Appreciate it. Like, the Mario is not too bad, to be honest. They wouldn't put Gen 4 remix on the Switch, would they? I doubt it. Lucky Leprechaun just subscribed. Thank you so much. Yeah! Shiny Stuffle, baby! Let's go! Let's go! Yo, yes! Yo. Can we get some shiny hype in the chat? Yes! Yeah! Yo, we come through! Come through! Shiny Stuffle on screen, boys! Yes, get it! Let us get it! 219 and counters, and we get a shiny little Stuffle. Hey, let's get some shiny hype in the chat, people. Can we get the shiny Ho-Ho, though? That's what I want. Oh, if that would have been shiny, bro, that would have been absolutely insane. Let us get this Stuffle. Bam, 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 bam. And Kid just subscribed. Thank you so much. Okay, don't call for any other Pokemon. Thank you. Hey, Walker just subscribed. Thank you so much. Let's throw a Premier Ball at it. Hopefully we can get it. Hey, nice one, dudes. Thank you so much, guys. I appreciate it. Oh, okay, shiny Stuffle. Oh, no, he called for help. Don't appear. Ah, thank you. He didn't appear. I could necessarily just throw like a Master Ball at this thing. I only have one of each, and I don't understand why. Yes! We got the shiny Stuffle, people. Can we get some hype in the chat? Are we gonna guess what nature it is? Yes! Thank you. I'm so happy I got the shiny Stuffle. I wanted it for so long as well. bum 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 bum. Bum 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 bum. Hey! Thank you guys so much. I super do appreciate it. I think I really want to call this thing Plushie. Because it's so cute. Like, it genuinely is. Bum 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 bum. We just need the shiny ho-ho now. We need this thing to bless us. We need this thing to bless us. We'll call this thing Plushie. Look at Twitter. I have looked at Twitter. Thank you guys so much for tweeting it out. I do appreciate it. Hey, we finally got a shiny Stuffle, which I'm kind of happy about. Let's take a look at the young shiny Stuffle. Are you guys gonna guess what nature do you think it will be? Let's have a look. It is bashful nature, which is kind of meh. But hey, shinies are shinies, people. Thank you so much, Lane, for the subscription. We're 22 subscribers away, guys. 22 away from 35,800, which is absolutely insane. We just need this golden burb to show down now. We just need this golden burb. Lucia just subscribed. Thank you so much. Bro, I'm not talking to callers. Do I know the Pokemon's Genesect? I do, yes. Oh, he gives you the drives, right? Thanks, sir. Oh, bro, he's gonna give me so many. You got Dan in the chat. What's poppin', bro? Bro, stop giving me all these drives. I'm just like, bro, I don't care. Chili just subscribed. Thanks so much, bro. I just need the shiny golden burb to appear. Hey, thank you so much for the subscription, guys. I appreciate it. We're 18 away, guys, from 35,800, which is absolutely insane. They're still showcasing some Mario. But, guys, let me know what do you think we should hunt for next. What should we hunt for next? Speedy Plays just subscribe. Thank you so much, bro. Wingle? Yo, go for Wingle. What? Hey, it's a good shout to whoever said change over to shiny hunting. That's pretty dope. Shiny Wimpod? Fennekin? I need something that I can do in Sun and Moon. Let's go and put this guy next to these little guy. Alolan Vulpix? That'd be pretty dope. Zippy did subscribe. Thank you so much. Wishy Washy? Shiny Rockruff. A lot of people are asking me to get a Rockruff, and I can't remember quite where you get this guy. Is it in Tenkate Hill? Should we go for Shiny Rockruff? Let's do Shiny Rockruff. I think it's Tenkate Hill you get the guy. So that's going to be back on the first island, right? Rockruff, yes. I thought it was Tenkate Hill. Okay, dope. Hopefully we'll get a Shiny Rockruff. That'd be pretty lit. Naomi just subscribed. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Okay, Taurus, my boy. Yo, a blue Rockruff. Yes. That's what we need. Yeah, this guy got it perfect. Yo. Hey, Hugo just subscribed, my boy. Thank you so much. Oh, yo, Alolan Diglett. Could you mind if we just randomly, like, found a shiny? Shiny Rockruff, yay. Yo, if I want a shiny Rockruff, though, I really do. I need Ho-Ho just to make it official. We need Ho-Ho to make it official. I came late, what's going on? We literally just found a shiny Stuffle, and we're waiting for the Pokemon Direct, like the Pokemon news, hopefully.